My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176 Investment. The next day. It was already past noon. Adam got up lazily. He walked out of the guest room and came to the living room, where he saw Karen making breakfast. Juno was sitting on the sofa, drinking coffee. Seeing Adam, she teased, "Didn't you say you'd leave in half an hour? Why are you screaming all night?" Adam blushed and laughed. "Plans can't keep up with changes. Are you going to Sheldon's house tonight?" Juno stopped talking and took the initiative to change the subject. "Yeah." Adam sat down next to Juno, leaned back, and said casually, "I guessed what it was. Looking for you to invest." Juno obviously thought of it too. They usually talked about Sheldon's family affairs, and she naturally knew that Sheldon's brother George Jr. was planning to raise money to open a store and be his own boss recently. "That's probably the case." Adam nodded. "What are you going to do?" Juno smiled. "I think he will agree." Adam thought for a moment and said, "First, it's because of Sheldon's relationship. Second, I know George Jr., he is very smart and talented in business. I shouldn't lose money if I invest in him, but it depends on what conditions he gives and how much money he needs. In the United States, not to mention friends and brothers, even fathers and sons, mothers and sons all pay attention to clear accounts." Adam naturally knew that George Jr. would become the king of Texas tires in the future. Investing in him now is indeed a good deal, but does Adam still lack investment targets? Even if it is only 1995 now, and Adam only has memories of 2020, he has never been involved in investment, a game that can only be played with spare money in his previous life. But he certainly knows about high-tech companies such as Apple, Google, and Amazon that are profitable. As early as 2 years ago, he left a certain amount of deposits as working capital, and the rest of the money was all invested in stocks of these future high-tech giants. After that, as soon as the copyright fee of the Lord of Mystery arrived every year, he still left a certain amount of deposits and bought all the rest into stocks. He vaguely remembered that the stock market would crash in a certain year, but he was not worried. He planned to hold all the stocks he bought for a long time, and the temporary fluctuations would not affect his long-term huge profits. The stocks of these high-tech network companies are the industries that can really make a lot of money by investing. The tire industry that George entered, as a real economy, would definitely not be as profitable as the tire king of Texas. Moreover, he could not figure out what George was thinking. It was very troublesome for friends to have economic interests. If there was a slight mistake, there was a risk of falling out. Although Adam did not care about the benefits, he wanted to help George for Sheldon's sake. But if George went too far, he would be very unhappy. "Then we won't go over tonight." Juno smiled and said, "This way you can talk about things." "Okay." Adam nodded. George was still very face-conscious, especially since he had a secret affair with Veronica. He was a little surprised that George took the initiative to ask him for investment. At night, Adam knocked on the door of Cooper's house alone with a bottle of high-energy red wine. "Welcome, welcome." Sheldon's mother Mary opened the door and hugged Adam warmly. "Adam, I'm so glad to see you." "Me too." Adam smiled. "Come in." Mary opened the door and invited Adam in. "Hi, George." "Hi, Veronica." "Hi, Adam." Veronica, who was already a young woman, showed a charming dimple smile. "Hi, Adam." George's attitude was not good, but under the pull of his wife, he still greeted reluctantly. "Wow, what a high-energy red wine." Missy walked to Adam, took the red wine from Adam's hand, and exclaimed, "It seems that a book of the Lord of Mysteries really made you a lot of money." "Haha." Adam glanced at her, thinking they were all acquaintances. Although Sheldon, the hub of the group, was too lazy to participate in this kind of family chat, and George was also a little reluctant, but with Mary, Veronica and Missy accompanying him, the atmosphere of the dinner was still very good. As expected, as they chatted, they talked about the investment needed by George to open a store. Missy said, "Little George is very talented in tires. He can find the leaking point accurately without any testing. It's amazing." "I know." Adam knew what was going on and wanted to help him. He nodded and agreed. Little George is a tire doctor. If he opens a store with this as a feature and then opens a chain store, he will definitely have a bright future. He may become the tire king of not only Texas but also the world. That's right, Veronica said happily. That's what we plan to do. It's just, Missy showed a disappointed expression, we are short of funds now. If we want to open the first store, it will take at least 5 years at the current speed. 5 years is too long. By then, cars may not even need tires. Haha. Adam smiled. How much money do you need? 200,000. Missy and Veronica looked at each other and reported a number that was neither too big nor too small. Little George took a big gulp of the Lone Star beer bottle, which was quite like his father's style back then. In fact, he initially refused the plan to find Adam to invest. He would rather work for 5 more years or ask others for investment. But money is not so easy to find, and he is too young. Others are either not interested at all or have too high requirements. Once he agrees, he will become a worker for others, which is completely contrary to his original intention of opening a store and starting a business. As for finding a bank loan, sufficient collateral is required. He does not want to mortgage the only house in his family to take a gamble, because although he believes in himself, he dare not bet that he will succeed the first time. Once he fails, the consequences are something he cannot afford. Therefore, this idea has been brewing for a long time, but there has been no progress. Yesterday, Missy suddenly found him and said that she wanted to ask Adam for investment, and Veronica also agreed very much. His objection was ineffective, and he could only accept it reluctantly. Sure, Adam's liquid deposits were as high as 1 million, so it was easy for him to take out 200,000, which would not affect him at all. But do you plan to borrow or attract investment? Investment. Missy smiled and said, how about you take 40% of the store's shares? 30%. Adam smiled and said, the future of this store mainly depends on George's management. I'm just investing money. It's not good to take too much shares. As soon as he said this, George looked up at Adam, and a touch of emotion flashed in his eyes. Those people he had found before, with the same 200,000, would ask for 80%, 90%, or at least 70%, because in their eyes, capital is the most important. Without capital, what can George do no matter how capable he is? Giving you 10% or 20% of the shares and letting you be a small shareholder is already very kind. Still want to take the majority? You're dreaming. Thank you, Missy and Veronica said gratefully. George was silent for a moment and raised his beer bottle. Adam raised his glass and clinked it with him, so the decision was made happily. P.S. Thanks to Kang's Moment and _Thangbao for the reward. Chapter 177 Genius. Missy. Cooper's house. Business is over. Missy, what are you going to do in the future? Adam said with a smile. I don't know. Missy shrugged. I can't study as well as Sheldon, and I can't do business as well as George, so whatever. Sheldon has a high IQ, George has a high financial quotient, and you have a high IQ, Adam said with a smile. I think you can develop into an entrepreneur or salesman. While studying at university, you can help George develop the company. Once the company grows bigger, it will definitely need talents like you. Of course, if you don't like this, you can also develop into a psychological counselor, host, etc. You are good at communicating with people and discovering unknown details. In this regard, you have amazing talent, no worse than George in business and Sheldon in science. Yeah, right. Sheldon had been wandering around and immersed in his own world, but when he heard this, he immediately sneered. Shelley, Mary called out in a scolding voice. Sorry, Sheldon said seriously. Weren't you telling a joke just now? Missy rolled her eyes and didn't bother to pay attention to her twin brother. From childhood to adulthood, she has been hit enough by Sheldon. Math is not important, but the love of parents is really heartbreaking. Many times, she has to make enough noise to make her parents' eyes shift slightly from Sheldon. This caused her to be very inferior and confused for a while, even though she is a good girl with good looks, figure and talent. If Adam's butterfly wings are not flapping hard enough, Missy may really become the cheap waiter in the mouth of her brother Sheldon in the future. Of course I'm not joking. Adam laughed. Sheldon, have you forgotten the time when you went to do the test with Missy? You couldn't laugh at that time. Fake. Sheldon shouted, scaring Adam. who almost heard it as fake news. "That experiment is completely nonsense," Sheldon said angrily. In 1990, when they were 10 years old, Sheldon and Missy participated in the test experiment as twins after being introduced by their grandmother's boyfriend Dr. Sturgis. At first, Sheldon was very happy and positive, not much worse than his father, who heard that he could receive a high fee for participating in the experiment. At first, Missy refused because she didn't want to be hit, but she didn't want her father to be unhappy, so she agreed to it on the grounds that her father bought her ice cream. The first experiment tested IQ. There is no doubt that Sheldon led the whole process and dismissed those test questions as children's games. Missy racked her brains and chatted with the female testers in various ways. Her grades were still very poor, but she successfully established a good relationship with the female testers and fooled the female testers into changing their hairstyles and wearing belts. The second experiment tested emotional intelligence. Missy easily made up a very detailed story for each picture, and many details were not even noticed by the female testers. This amazed the testers. Sheldon couldn't understand the meaning of those storytelling with pictures at all. When he heard the testers ask anything else, again and again, he became a little impatient. Then he was no longer willing to participate in this kind of test experiment. Missy is a good person, but she is blind to numbers. When she heard that they were paid for the experiment, she went to ask her father for half of the money. Her father lied to her and said it was only $7.50, actually $300, and then asked her how much half of it was. Missy thought about it for a long time but couldn't figure it out, so she had to ask Sheldon to solve it. She often counted from 1 to 100 when combing her hair, and she often missed or made mistakes. With her math grades, she really couldn't go to college unless something unexpected happened. And if Adam hadn't helped in advance, George's tire doctor shop would probably have been delayed for several years. At that time, Missy had missed the right age to go to college, and she could only work as a waitress. In the end, she gradually became silent and completely became a cheap waitress in the eyes of her brother Sheldon. IQ and EQ are different. Adam smiled and said, "If Missy works hard, I will help write a recommendation letter for her. She will have no problem going to college and her future will definitely be very different." At this point, he looked at the angry Sheldon and said, "Sheldon, don't you want your sister to be better? You are twins. Her excellence proves that you are better." Sheldon was stunned and frowned. "I didn't think of this." "You have a point. We share the same genes. I am so outstanding, in theory, even if all the nutrients are absorbed by me. Missy should be above the average. Is it true?" Mary was very excited. "Is it possible?" Adam's words reminded Mary of Missy's inadvertent loneliness when she was doing the experiment. According to Missy, the family is divided into 3 teams. Dad plays football with his brother, which is the first team. Mom and Grandma always pay attention to Sheldon, which is the second team. And she is alone, forming the team by herself. Although Mary showed that she wanted to compensate Missy at that time. Soon after that, the well-behaved Missy disappeared from Mary's side again, because Sheldon was really a little troublemaker. Now that Adam reminded her, Mary felt so ashamed and remorseful that she naturally cared more about Missy's future. "Of course," Adam smiled and said, "although it may not be the best university, it is enough for Missy to improve herself." It was just a simple effort for him, and it was a benefit without any cost. As mentioned before, if nothing unexpected happens, George can make the company as big as the Texas Tire King. But is there a chance to do better? Adam thinks that it is still possible. Although George is very financially intelligent, he is a real academic scumbag. He even barely finished high school by cheating. As such, he is limited by his vision and knowledge, and no matter how talented he is, he cannot fully display it. And what about Missy? She has high emotional intelligence and is naturally suitable for dealing with others. Whether she is a salesperson or a boss, she can do well. Once she goes to college, after systematic training, her talent will be fully tapped, and she will assist George in running the tire company. With high financial intelligence and high emotional intelligence, she may run another Michelin. That is a Fortune 500 company, a supergroup with a market value of hundreds of billions of dollars in the future. Adam owns 30% of the original shares. Even if it is continuously diluted for listing financing in the future, As long as 1% is retained, it will be a fortune of billions of dollars. Thinking about it this way, it is no worse than investing in high-tech companies such as Apple, Google, and Amazon. And what did he pay? It's just $200,000 at this time, a mouth cannon, and a little help in the future. As for failure, that's nothing. Just remember your original intention. As a good friend of Sheldon, he doesn't want to see Sheldon's twin sister fall from a talented beautiful girl to a lowly waitress in Sheldon's mouth just because no one is pointing her out. That's a waste. And waste is shameful. Chapter 178. Why is it you? Karen's house. A few days later, Las Vegas. After solving the problems of George and Missy, Adam discussed with Juno, Heather and others, and finally decided to choose the first stop of the trip as a famous resort. A gambling city with a one-stop service of eating, drinking and having fun. Sheldon, are you going? After confirming, Adam went to Cooper's house and invited Sheldon. No, thank you. Sheldon refused as expected. Adam was not disappointed, but secretly relieved. His invitation was more of a polite nature, and he also guessed Sheldon's reaction. If Sheldon really agreed, it would be a headache for him. It's not that Adam is not a good friend, but Sheldon is really a troublemaker, and Sheldon is even more troublesome when he travels. Not to mention the fixed-point excretion. Can you guarantee that the places you pass along the way are extremely clean? If there's a slight problem, Sheldon will fall into misophobia. Then, Sheldon is still a child. Not to mention that he is a doctor at the age of 15. He will still be a child even if he wins the Nobel Prize in Physics in the future. When you go out, do you dare to let him live alone? Well, you dare. But he may not be willing. Of course, he doesn't want to live with you, and he won't be willing to do so either, but he must live next door to you, so that they can chat across the wall when they lie down. What are Adam and his friends going there for? Vacation. It must be wilder than usual, with Sheldon around. How can they let go? Besides, Adam and his friends are going there by plane this time. When Sheldon was 5 years old, Fat Tiger next door stuffed a Mexican peso into his nostril, and it has not been taken out until now. Every time he goes through security, he spends a lot more time than others to conduct a comprehensive examination. As long as he wears latex gloves, anyone can check Sheldon's rectum. So Sheldon is just a little unhappy about wasting time, and he doesn't reject the full-body examination at the airport. But as Sheldon's companion, if he is also asked to do such an examination, it would be too disgusting. So once Sheldon agrees, Adam will definitely give up flying there immediately. Driving there will take longer, and there will be more places to pass along the way, and Sheldon will have more things to do, and he may even have to play boring in-car games with Adam and his friends. I used to watch Coke on TV, but when Adam thought about having to endure this situation, he couldn't stand it. So after Sheldon refused, Adam didn't think of asking again, and just smiled and said goodbye. Adam, take me with you. When he went home and told his parents, they had no objection and encouraged him, but Teddy, who had just returned home, came over and said coquettishly, "Don't think about it. Aren't you crazy enough?" Adam refused decisively. "I've never been to Las Vegas." Teddy would naturally not give up so easily. "I promise not to disturb you." As he said that, he raised his hands to swear. No, Adam still refused. The four of them were just in pairs, so what was the matter with bringing a sister to drag along? "Humphrey, I won't talk to you." Seeing that Adam was not willing to listen, Teddy snorted and ran out of the house to find Heather. After a while, Adam looked at Teddy holding Heather's arm and walked in with a smile. Heather smiled and said, "Adam, why don't you take Teddy with you?" "Okay." Adam could only agree. In front of his family, he naturally had to give Heather face. "I want to go too." Charlie heard this and hugged Heather's thighs directly, shouting in a tender voice, "And me." The third child Gabby also jumped out. Adam had a headache and complained, "Why don't the whole family go?" Mom Amy's eyes suddenly lit up, and she looked at Dad Bob, who was also interested, and smiled. "That's good. We should be able to take leave." Adam's mouth twitched. He was really just being polite and complaining. "Don't be like this. Be happy." Dad Bob patted Adam's shoulder in understanding, and whispered, "When the time comes, we will play ours and you will play yours. We promise not to disturb you." Adam could only force a smile in response. That being said, how could it not affect the whole family to go out together? They had to lower their voices a lot. However, since things had come to this point, Adam could only agree to it, but he immediately warned Gabby, the third child, "If you make trouble, I will send you back directly. You are targeting me." Gabby, the third child, jumped up and down, looking aggrieved. Adam stared at him expressionlessly, and his parents ignored him. He had to put away his expression, shrugged and complained, "Since you got smart, PJ is no longer as fun as before." Adam rolled his eyes. "As the cute big brother, PJ is always teased by you, so you naturally think it's fun." "I'll book the tickets," Adam said to his father Bob. "Okay." Dad Bob did not refuse. Unlike the last time the whole family went out to spend Christmas, this time it was Adam and Juno who went out to play, and the Duncan family was just a byproduct, so it was reasonable for Adam to spend money to book the tickets, and it did not affect the dignity of his father Bob as the head of the family. Adam made the move, and naturally booked all first-class seats. When he arrived at the airport, he walked through the VIP channel, and there was definitely no bad thing like last time. After booking the flight tickets, Adam called to reserve 2 luxury suites at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. His parents took Teddy and the other 4 in one suite, and Adam and Juno stayed in another. This kind of suite has several rooms and everything, which is more convenient than home. Adam also deliberately chose 2 suites that are not together, so as not to be unhappy when the time comes. As for Juno, Karen and Adam and Heather staying in the same suite, well, Adam is used to it. Is the soundproofing effect of the hotel's luxury suite worse than that of the cabin in the woods in Karen's house? Both parents asked for leave, each with their own methods. After the phone call, they all happily gestured that they had done it. Las Vegas is not far from Palm Springs. Mom and her family have certainly been there before, but that was a long time ago. Besides, it has never happened before for a family to go to Las Vegas for vacation. Moreover, this time Adam became a multimillionaire and spent money to take them there. There is not only the bonus of filial piety, but also a luxury suite to stay in, which is completely different from the past. Double happiness, no, 8 times happiness, isn't it? Action is worse than thought. Money can do whatever you want. Just finalize the plan, put it away briefly, and flew directly to Las Vegas in the afternoon. A few hours later, when a large group of people walked into the magnificent Caesar Palace, Teddy and his friend's eyes were shining, feeling that everything was new and they couldn't see enough, and exclaimed from time to time. Adam naturally wouldn't make such a fuss, but when he saw someone, he couldn't help but be stunned. "It's you." Chapter 179. Preparing to go to see. Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace. Located in the heart of Las Vegas, it is the first themed casino resort hotel in Las Vegas. As soon as you enter the door, you will see the circular hall, which is magnificent and looks like returning to the ancient Roman era. In order to make people feel more involved, there is naturally no shortage of cosplay ancient Roman warriors. Seeing Adam saw him, Joey Tribbiani, the ancient Roman warrior in a golden armor and a red coxcomb helmet on his head, could only turn around and waved with an awkward smile to say hello. "Joey, why are you here, and dressed like this?" Adam said with a strange look. "I'm here to film." Joey saw that the Duncan family and Juno were all looking at him, and he couldn't help but raise his neck to act majestic. "Filming here?" Teddy asked curiously. "Yeah." Joey nodded quickly. Seeing that Teddy was a beautiful girl, he habitually showed a Joe smile and nodded with his lips pursed. "How you doing, Joey?" Adam shouted. "I'm sorry." Joey realized that these might be Adam's family members, and apologized quickly, putting away his Joe smile. "Just focus on filming, we'll see you later," Adam said, motioning the waiter to lead the way, and took everyone to settle down first. "Wow, what a beautiful room!" Teddy screamed as soon as she entered the luxury suite, and started running around the room. Charlie and Mom Amy did the same. Mom Amy stuffed Toby in her hand to Dad Bob, and then began to appreciate this luxury suite with her most proud dance steps. There was no way. Women have always had little resistance to shiny things. "Dad, you guys settle down first, and have dinner together later," Adam reminded. "Okay." Dad Bob held Toby and nodded helplessly. Adam and Juno came out and went to another suite, not far away. just across the suite. You guys settle down. I'll go downstairs and talk to Joey first. Adam laughed. They're here to shoot a movie. I don't know what they're shooting. Maybe it's a porn movie. Juno joked. After all, this is a world-famous gambling city. The scenes are very immersive, and ancient Roman themes. No matter what type, aren't they all similar to porn movies? You know so much. Adam looked at her in surprise. He agreed with what Juno said. Romance Spartacus. There's really no difference between them and porn movies. Well, there is still a difference. These movies have bigger investments, more grand scenes, prettier actresses, and more fun, and they're much more exciting than porn movies. You don't understand? Juno gave him a disdainful look. Damn. Adam paused. We all understand, so what do you mean by that look? Adam went out and went downstairs to find Joey, an ancient Roman soldier who was taking photos with tourists. What's going on? Without his family around, and without having to save face for Joey, Adam asked directly, "You're not really here to make a small movie about ancient Rome, are you?" "How do you know?" Joey's eyes widened. "Huh?" Adam was also confused, and said in disbelief, "You really are?" Exclamation mark. "It's not what you think," Joey quickly explained. Well, this is what happened. It turned out that Joey got the role of the leading actor in an independent movie, which was in the desert next to Las Vegas, which made Joey very excited. This is the leading actor of the movie. The first peak of his life came too quickly, and he almost went crazy with joy. Although this is just an independent movie, not a commercial blockbuster, there is no pay, and the luxury suite that the leading actor should have does not exist. He has to pay for his own accommodation, and he can't afford to take a plane for transportation. He can only borrow Phoebe's grandmother's taxi to drive all the way here. But the leading actor of the movie is the leading actor of the movie. The status is there. Once this movie becomes popular, he will gain both fame and fortune. It goes without saying that he is famous. As for the benefits, although he does not take a salary, he does take a share. For every dollar earned by this movie, he gets a share. What if the box office exceeds 100 million? Then he will be a millionaire. Well, when Adam heard this, he did not have the heart to remind him. They are talking about profits, not box office share. Even if the box office exceeds 100 million, after deducting the production and distribution costs, it would be good to give him some money. Do you really want to get 1% of the actual profit share? Don't be silly. The producer is doing you a favor by not making you lose money. Moreover, this crew is completely unreliable. There is no need to think about the box office exceeding 100 million, and it is hard to say whether the filming can continue, because when Joey drove thousands of kilometers alone from the East Coast to the West Coast with food waste in his car, he arrived here without a moment's delay, but was told a bolt from the blue. Now, the actors have not been finalized, and the detailed script is not available. The most important thing is that there is not enough money. So, as soon as Joey arrived and met the director withdrew directly. When he was leaving, he reminded Joey that he would raise enough money within a week or two, and asked Joey to wait for his call. Joey wanted to cry but couldn't bear to give up the opportunity to be the leading actor in the movie, so he could only stay in Las Vegas and wait for the director's notice. Like most Americans, Joey had almost no savings, so in order to stay here, he could only do odd jobs to support his expenses. It was not easy to find a job, but fortunately he was a professional actor, so he was good at cosplaying as an ancient Roman warrior. What about the little movie? Adam asked. Joey was a little entangled, but under Adam's threat to call Monica and the others right away, he still said awkwardly, "Remember that I almost made a little movie?" "Oh," Adam laughed, "you didn't almost make it. You really made it." "But I'm not the protagonist," Joey explained quickly. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. Joey graduated from high school and went out to make a living, because he had no money. He was once deceived into making a little movie. At the last moment, Joey was scared and refused. The producer of the short film had no choice but to replace the actor. However, Joey still played a supporting role in the film, playing a printer repairman who ran into the male and female protagonists acting out a scene on the printer. At first, He was angry and reminded them that their company would not be responsible for free repairs if the printer was damaged like this. In the end, he stood aside and commented, applauded and cheered. He appeared on the screen quite often. Adam and his friends even went to the video rental company specifically to find this movie, bought it back, and everyone watched and commented on Joey's acting skills. Almost everyone almost laughed to death. Stop laughing. Joey's face turned a little dark, and he took out a dagger from his armor and threatened. Okay. Adam forced himself to hold back his laughter. What does this have to do with the last time you made a short film? They came to you again? Chapter 180. On-site spectators. Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace. Yeah, Joey nodded. They happened to be filming a new movie here, and they thought they could add me as an ancient Roman soldier. Of course, just like last time, I'll be a supporting role to liven up the atmosphere. Have you agreed? Adam said, trying not to laugh. Not yet. Joey hesitated. I'm about to film a real movie and be the real leading actor. How can I film such a small movie, even if it's a supporting role that doesn't participate in the action? But I need money to support myself until that day, and I don't make much money by cosplaying as an ancient Roman soldier. Why don't you borrow some from Chandler? Adam asked curiously. Joey and Chandler have a very good relationship. As the one with a stable and decent income, Chandler often helps Joey, and has been doing so for several years. This time is not a big deal. I'm mad at him. Joey pouted and said, we were originally planning to come here together, but who knew that he didn't believe that I could become famous with this movie? Can you believe it? He's my best friend. Adam grinned and reminded, you should be able to forgive him now, right? Why? Joey was stunned, then his eyes widened, pointing at Adam and shouting, you don't believe me either? Of course not. Adam put his arm around Joey's shoulders and smiled. Of course I believe you. The key is whether you believe in yourself. What? Joey was a little confused. Adam saw that he still believed in himself, and knew that he had not given up, so he changed the subject. Since you believe in yourself, you will be famous soon. How can you make a small movie for a little money? It will be a scandal then. If that happens, you might as well borrow money from Chandler. I won't borrow from him. He doesn't believe me, Joey said stubbornly. Okay. Adam smiled and said, now that you've met me, I'll lend you some. Okay. Joey immediately changed his expression and said happily, I'll go and refuse them now. I'll go with you, Adam said actively. Where are they? Under Joey's guidance, Adam came to a mysterious room. Joey, a middle-aged white man with a big belly, was very happy to see Joey, and when he saw Adam, his eyes lit up even more. Is this your friend? Do you want to make a movie? I'm very optimistic about him, and it will definitely be a big hit. Thank you, but no thanks. Adam's mouth twitched. Don't rush to refuse. The middle-aged white man showed a mysterious smile, stepped aside, and invited Adam and Joey to go in. Wait until you see the heroine, then tell me if you want it. Hiss. Joey took a breath of cold air when he saw it, and his eyes widened. Adam's eyes also lit up. This is definitely a beautiful white girl, with a pure face, white and smooth skin like jade, tall figure and long legs, and her ferocity is only inferior to Heather. She is probably from Eastern Europe. Under the light of freedom in the United States, everyone is free to go to the sea. There are many beautiful girls in many countries over there, not just one or two, but a large number of them go to the sea with the country as the system, just like the island country in the past. What a sin. Adam sighed in his heart. How about it? We are going to shoot the aesthetic series this time. The middle-aged white man smiled proudly and said, your friend is a good match for Natasha, as long as he is willing. I can pay $50,000. $50,000? Joey's eyes widened, and then there was a strong dissatisfaction. Why is he so valuable? Do you look down on me? Adam looked at him speechlessly. It's enough. He is jealous for this. Joey, it's not that I look down on you. The middle-aged white man smiled and said, of course you are handsome, but you are not as tall as Natasha, so it's not suitable for the aesthetic series. Joey was speechless. He could write that he was 1.8 meters tall on his resume, but now Natasha is next to him, and the comparison will reveal everything. So, how is it? The middle-aged white man looked at Adam. No, I'm not short of money. Adam raised his hand to show his bell-feather watch worth $50,000, and looked at the time. Joey, it's late, we should go back. Thinking of those evil things, he didn't feel like watching the scene. As for pretending to save a beautiful girl, don't be kidding. Adam raised his eyes and saw her movements. He immediately knew that the other party was an old driver. The other party flirted with him from time to time, and after seeing his bell-feather, she flirted even more. How could he save such an old driver? Maybe she didn't want to at first, but after getting used to it, who would work so hard to make a lot of money lying down? It's okay if you don't lack money. The middle-aged white man's eyes lit up, and he smiled ambiguously. I'll leave the cameras and everything else to you, and Natasha to you too. You can shoot by yourself, and take them back to enjoy them after shooting. These are all good cameras and frames, and the ones that can be directly released after shooting. The effect is absolutely first class, and the price is negotiable. Adam's mouth twitched. As expected of a businessman who only cares about money, he is really obsessed with money. When the movie can't be made, he becomes a pimp in the blink of an eye. Joey. Adam was too lazy to pay attention to him, and reminded him directly. Didn't you come to tell him that you don't want to shoot anymore? Have you agreed? We are going back. Oh, Joey said hesitantly. I have other scenes, so I won't shoot anymore. Adam took him away directly, because if he didn't leave, Adam seriously suspected that Joey was going to go into the adult entertainment industry. Joey is really entangled now. He is also shooting a movie and is the male lead at the same time, but the independent film company didn't give him a penny, and he had to wait here at his own expense. On the other hand, the heroine here is so beautiful, and the pay is so high, so it can be easily finished. How can it be compared? How can it make him heartbroken and hesitant? Besides, it doesn't mean that if he shoots now, he can't shoot normal movies in the future. In order to attract people's attention and make more money, those independent movies add indescribable elements, which are not much less than these small movies. Many big stars also dedicate themselves to art. What they do, can't he Joey do? Hey, come back to your senses. After coming out, seeing Joey's expression constantly changing, Adam snapped his fingers in front of him and said speechlessly, you are not really going to shoot it? This. Joey hummed and didn't deny it directly. Seeing Adam's contempt, he said angrily, this is all your fault. Why did you go with him and let him quote a salary of $50,000? Well, don't blame Joey for not being firm in his will. It's really that the director gave too much. Blame me, Adam said with a half smile, but you only thought of the benefits, but didn't consider the bad effects. Imagine if you took the photo and your sisters saw it. What would happen? You have 7 sisters, and the probability of being seen is 7 times that of others. Stop it, Joey shouted. I won't take the photo. Thinking of that terrible scene, $50,000 suddenly didn't seem so attractive. P.S. Thanks to my Ben King Kuang for the reward. Chapter 181 Surprise. Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace. Still laughing, Joey gave up and walked dejectedly. Suddenly, he saw Adam from the corner of his eye. He saw that he was trying hard to hold back his laughter and it was very difficult. He couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Ha ha ha. Adam couldn't hold back any longer and laughed. What's so funny? Joey glared. Isn't it funny? You actually considered making a movie. Ha ha ha. Adam was overjoyed. What's the matter? That's dedication to art. Joey tried his best to flatter himself. Yes. Adam nodded seriously. Art is supreme, and it is glorious to devote oneself to art. Because you did take off all your clothes. You are not allowed to tell anyone about this, Joey threatened. That's impossible. Adam refused without hesitation and said righteously, we can't be so selfish. Such an interesting joke must be shared with good friends. Joey suddenly didn't want to talk anymore, just walked forward with his head down. Where are you going now? Adam quickly caught up and asked with a smile. Resign. Joey glared at Adam. Since you're willing to lend me money, it's meaningless to be an ancient Roman warrior. I want to prepare for the movie actor and become famous. You can do it. Adam patted Joey's armor. I fully support you. Joey's expression relaxed, and pointed at Adam. Come and watch my performance tonight. "What performance?" Adam asked curiously. "You will know when the time comes." Joey walked away quickly, walked a few steps, turned his head and reminded, "Don't bring your family. Juno and the others can come together. Wait for my notice." That's it. New York. Apartment 520. Chandler and the big-mouthed beauty Susie sat on the sofa, looking a little depressed. "Are you still worried about apologizing to Joey?" Monica asked. "Yeah." Chandler frowned and said, "I tried to call him to apologize for several days in a row, but he didn't listen to my explanation at all." "How do you want to explain?" Ross complained. "What you said is not true." "No, no." Chandler looked at Ross, who was gloating, and said sarcastically, "Next time I call, as soon as the call is connected, I will immediately say that Ross agrees with me and says that what I said is true. I believe he will accept this explanation." "Don't." Ross rolled his eyes and smiled. "I was just joking. Don't tell Joey this." "What happened?" "Susie just came back from the crew today and asked in confusion." Chandler told her the story. "Oh, I heard about this." Susie suddenly realized and smiled. "Chandler, you did the right thing. The director and the crew have been disbanded and will not shoot again. You can call Joey back." "Disbanded?" everyone shouted in unison. "Yes." Susie thought for a moment and said, "If I remember correctly, I heard the news a few days ago that the crew disbanded because of lack of money. There are too many crews like this every year." She is the makeup artist of the crew and often follows the crew. She is very well informed about the news and the industry. "But I talked to Joey on the phone yesterday," Phoebe asked in confusion. "He said everything went well." "The movie is called Shutter Speed and it was filmed in Las Vegas," Susie confirmed. "Yes." Chandler nodded. "That's right," Susie said with certainty. "The crew disbanded a few days ago." "Well, I heard the news on Monday." "Monday?" Chandler murmured. "That's about the time when Joey arrived." "Maybe they found money and started filming again," Monica guessed. "Impossible." Susie shook her head. "If we start filming again, we will all get the news." "I think I know what happened." Ross showed a look of understanding. "Joey must be embarrassed to say it, and embarrassed to come back immediately, so he stayed there and pretended that he was still filming." "That must be it." Chandler blamed himself. "It's all my fault. If I didn't distrust him and make him angry, he wouldn't stay there out of spite and would have come back earlier." At this point, he stood up directly. "I'll call him now. If it doesn't work, I'll go to Las Vegas to pick him up." Ding-a-ling-a-ling. At this moment, the phone suddenly rang. It must be Joey. Chandler took 2 steps at a time and picked up the phone. "Joey, miss him so much." Adam's laughter came from the other end of the phone. "Adam?" Chandler looked disappointed. "I know Joey is your good friend, but I'm also your friend. The contrast shouldn't be so big, right?" Adam teased. "No," Chandler said embarrassedly. "You don't know what happened." "Well, let me guess," Adam said seriously. "You are waiting for Joey's call so eagerly. Have you done something to let him down?" "And he is not at home, is he out?" "The only thing that can make him go out is to make a movie. But he can't be angry when he is so happy about making a movie, unless you don't think he can make a movie." "OMG." Chandler was shocked. "Are all of those who study psychology so good?" "Of course." "I'm lying to you." Adam laughed. "I'm in Las Vegas now. I just met Joey and heard what he said." Chandler complained. "Adam, I'm not in the mood to joke with you now. How is Joey?" "I heard from Susie that their film crew disbanded a long time ago." "Yeah," Adam teased. "It's not completely disbanded. At least the director told Joey to wait here and start shooting as soon as he raises the money." "That's impossible," Chandler said anxiously. "Susie is well informed. The film crew has really disbanded." "I can't imagine how much of a blow Joey will feel." "Come and see for yourself." Adam smiled. "You can comfort him yourself when the time comes." "Okay, I'll go over now." Chandler agreed immediately. "Don't go alone." Adam smiled. "Call Susie, Monica and the others to come over and play together. I'll pay for their accommodation in a luxury suite." "Really?" After getting a positive answer, Chandler held up the phone and told everyone about Adam's invitation. "I'll go." "Luxury suite?" "I'll go too." Everyone responded positively. "You'd better come quickly if you want to come," Adam reminded. "Joey seems to be performing something on stage tonight. It may be restricted." "Restricted performance? Las Vegas?" Chandler's heart skipped a beat, and an ominous premonition came over him, making him involuntarily shout out his ex-girlfriend Janice's classic line again, OMG tilde. Chapter 182. This is embarrassing. Las Vegas. In the evening, after having a big meal with the family, Adam, Juno and the other two went to a small theater next door according to the address Joey gave them. OMG tilde. When Adam saw the gay waiters around him, he was shocked and shouted out this classic line, "What's wrong?" Juno said with a smile, "Do you discriminate against gays?" "Of course not." Adam denied it immediately. "Are you kidding? This is the United States, and all kinds of weird cultures are developing to extremes. There are discrimination warnings at every turn. Ross's sexism, Chandler's rejection of gays because of his childhood experience, and the forbidden love between Monica, a classmate of Richard's daughter, and Richard, a good friend of Monica's father and had held Monica when she was a baby, happened before the millennium. If it happened in the future, it would definitely be criticized. It was a warning to burst into tears and apologize immediately. If someone caught this handle, he would not be at peace for the rest of his life, because it is very likely that their children are the light of righteousness. Occasionally, after hearing their parents and elders mention their past ugly words and deeds, they may burst into tears and post videos online to draw a clear line with them. Then more attacks will be triggered. Children who cheat their parents are not only in the East. There are more in the United States. And compared to the unconscious cheating of parents in the East, in the United States, many times it is for freedom and equality, and they take the initiative to cheat their parents. The nature is completely different. The lethality is also completely different. You see, your children despise you and condemn you, which means that you are really guilty of a heinous crime. It is not enough to attack you wantonly to appease the public anger. In the East, it is called killing relatives for the sake of justice. In the United States, after dozens or hundreds of years of hypnotizing others and self-hypnosis, such talents have finally been cultivated, and the values of the East are gradually approaching those of 1,000 years ago. It is gratifying. If it continues to develop like this, who knows, in a few decades or hundreds of years, the United States may really reach the prosperity of the ancient East, where etiquette and morality are prestige both at home and abroad. It's okay to kill relatives for the sake of justice. Adam believes that his friends and family around him should not do this, but the one asking the question is Juno. Scalpel warning. Has anyone ordered anything for you? A cross-dressing waitress came over with a pink drink and asked in a coquettish voice. Thank you. I have already ordered. Adam forced himself to suppress the discomfort in his heart, turned sideways and smiled back. Okay. The cross-dressing waitress's eyes lit up and said enthusiastically, "You can always find me if you need anything." Adam could only force a smile and nod, watching the cross-dressing waitress enchanting away, and then shrugged at Juno, who was staring at him, and said, "See? Hee." Juno gave him a playful look, but didn't point it out. Another cross-dressing waitress came over with the drinks ordered by Adam and the others. I ordered the beer." Seeing Juno take the beer in front of him, Adam couldn't help but remind her. The cross-dressing waiter, who had not left yet, glanced at Adam, and after leaving, he said to the cross-dressing waiter who had been staring at this place, "He is heterosexual." Oh, the cross-dressing waiter before wailed in disappointment. "You don't discriminate against gays. Come and try their drinks. They are delicious." Juno pushed the pink cocktail she ordered in front of Adam and teased, "Don't." Adam's mouth twitched. He is not Rajesh in The Big Bang Theory, nor is he Matthew in How I Met Your Mother. He has no feelings for such things. Moreover, in a place like this, drinking this representative drink, it is easy to be regarded as gay, and the probability of being hit on will increase infinitely. Looking at these enchanting cross-dressing big men swaying in front of him, his scalp has been numb. If they all come to hit on him one by one, he really can't bear it and can only retreat immediately. Just as he was tangled, a familiar and extremely brutal aura swept over. Adam turned his head and saw Heather beside him, quietly clinging to him, smiling sweetly at him. Silence is better than words at this moment. Adam looked at Heather gratefully, gave her a look that said, "I will go back tonight and work hard until I die to repay you," and then looked at Juno proudly. Juno rolled her eyes at Adam and Heather, and stopped the topic at the right time. Adam was able to look around. This is a small theater with a small stage on it. There are dining tables scattered around the stage. There is a blue table lamp in the middle of each table, all of which are lit. The purpose is, of course, to turn off the main lights during the performance, leaving the small table lamp so that the audience can see their companions and prevent their drinks from knocking over. Damn Joey. Adam became more and more certain of his guess, and couldn't help but curse inwardly. You didn't make it clear in advance. If I had known this, I would definitely not come. The lights suddenly dimmed. The sound of the piano rang out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the incomparable Helena Hanbaski. A waitress dressed in cross-dressing was the guest host, introducing him in a pinched voice. As soon as the voice fell, a beam of light hit the stage, and a tall figure in a hollow skirt turned his head, revealing a face that was difficult to distinguish between yin and yang. Holding the microphone, a deep voice rang out, "Hi, my little darlings, OMG tilde." Adam, who almost heard it as "my little money," once again spoke the classic accent, without any doubt in his heart. "It's him, it's him, it's him. I feel beautiful, very beautiful. I feel that I am beautiful and wise." Helena on the stage sang here and pointed the microphone at the audience. "Gay tilde." Many people in the audience shouted in unison. Helena smiled immediately. Adam had a toothache. Juno and the other three were watching with great interest. The opening song ended. "Hello, welcome to the show. I see some regulars in the audience." Helena scanned the audience. Then her eyes fell on Adam, paused slightly, and raised her eyebrows. "There are some new faces." At this point, she walked off the stage, came to Adam, handed the microphone to Adam, and asked with a smile, "Where are you from?" "Texas," Adam said with a stiff face. "The Lone Star State. Then you must be very lonely," Helena said in a strange tone. "It shouldn't be teasing. It shouldn't be. No, absolutely not," Adam shouted in his heart, but smiled awkwardly. "I have a girlfriend. How can I be lonely?" Some loneliness only exists in the heart, not suitable for talking to others. Helena smiled. Adam's smile was very stiff, especially when he saw Helena winking at him, and then thought of Helena's true identity. He felt bad. "Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? P.S. I was online for a while last night, and was shocked by the driving skills of the big guys. I only wrote 2 chapters. Sorry." If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183 Discrimination is Impossible. Las Vegas. Adam was in deep thought. Meanwhile, on the plane from New York to Las Vegas. "What's wrong?" The big-mouthed beauty Susie noticed Chandler's restlessness and asked in surprise. "Nothing." Chandler hesitated. "Honey, you can tell me anything." Susie looked at him. After Chandler's efforts, Susie not only forgave him, but also became his girlfriend. It's hard to say what the future holds, but now is the time when they are inseparable. "Okay." Chandler really wanted to talk at this moment. Facing his girlfriend's concerned eyes, he turned sideways and said carefully, "Susie, do you remember why you hated me so much?" Susie said unhappily, "Of course you lifted my skirt in public." At this point, she leaned close to Chandler's ear, bit his ear, and said seductively, "Are you willing to do that now?" "Of course not." Chandler shook his head quickly. "I'm not making excuses for myself. The reason I did that was to protect myself with humor." "I know." Susie touched Chandler's face. "And the reason for this is that," Chandler said with difficulty, "it's because of my parents. You know, my dad, wants to be my mom more." "I know." Susie looked at her boyfriend with pity. "Everyone knows." "Oh." Chandler laughed at himself. "That's right. After all, not everyone's father dresses like a Hollywood star, and is a Hollywood actress, appearing at the parent-teacher meeting in a dignified manner." "Don't think too much. A person cannot resist his own nature," Susie advised. "Your father just did what he thought he should do." Chandler was silent. "Is this what you are upset about?" Susie kissed Chandler. "Don't think about these unhappy things. We are here for vacation. Las Vegas, free luxury suite. Baby, it's Las Vegas. Chandler smiled bitterly. That's what I'm worried about. What? Susie was puzzled. Adam said Joey was going to do some performance that was not suitable for children. Chandler said tanguledly, and my dad is a drag queen in Las Vegas. I'm afraid of running into him. At this point, he simply said, I haven't seen him for several years. He called me and wrote me letters, but I didn't reply. He said he was going to come to New York to see me, and I always said I was too busy. Do you hate him? Susie held Chandler's hand. I guess so, Chandler said self-deprecatingly. If he hadn't been a man enough, my family and my childhood would have been completely different. At least, he would never lift your skirt when you were in 4th grade. Haha. Susie smiled and patted Chandler. Why? Chandler said sadly. Why couldn't he just be patient? Even for me? God, I was only in my teens at that time. I watched them quarreling every day, and then watched them retaliate by competing to hook up with our male servant. They had no idea how much impact it had on me, and they didn't care at all. Poor little thing. Susie looked pitying. After my dad ran off with Mr. Garibaldi, my mom tried hard to be a cool single mom, and she even took the initiative to hand me the insurance measures, but it was too late by then, Chandler said self-deprecatingly, because throughout junior high and high school, all I heard were my classmates enthusiastically discussing masterpieces my mom wrote, such as Bitch Lover and Love at Midnight. So when I became an adult and went to college, I completely stayed away from them. Over the years, I never went home and never celebrated Christmas. But every time the family reunited, even if I was alone in the dormitory or apartment, their harsh quarrels on Christmas that year would often echo in my ears. So pitiful. Susie touched Chandler's face, rolled her eyes, leaned close to Chandler's ear, and said seductively, let me make it up to you. I'll go to the bathroom first, you go over after 10 seconds and knock on the door twice. Are you serious? Chandler's sadness immediately stagnated. Susie didn't answer. She just stood up, winked at Chandler, bit her lip, shook her long hair, and went to the bathroom. Chandler looked left and right, very entangled, but finally got up and followed. A few minutes later, how do you feel now? Are you still sad? Susie sat back in her original seat and smiled at Chandler, who was slumped next to her and exuded the smell of salted fish. Wait a moment, Chandler said seriously. I think I will be sad again in a while. Susie smiled and patted him. Just kidding. Chandler smiled and said, but thank you very much. It's you and Adam who made me think it through. Just now in the bathroom, you were thinking about not only me, but also Adam. Susie was shocked. I can't help it. I am my parents' son. Chandler laughed at himself. Okay, no more jokes. Adam has always supported me and encouraged me to get out of the shadow of my childhood. Without him, I wouldn't have the courage to ask you for forgiveness. Look at us now. How good it is. So you want to forgive your father now? Susie understood. Well, not only my father, but also my mother. Chandler held Susie's hand. I have caused you psychological trauma for more than 20 years, but you forgave me. I think I should give them a chance, right? You have a good friend, Chandler Bing. Susie was moved. No. Chandler turned his head to look at Monica, Ross, Rachel, and Phoebe sitting over there, and said with a deep gaze, I have a group of good friends. Before Adam appeared, it was Ross, Monica and others who had been supporting and warming him. If there was a piece of ice in his heart, it was Ross, Monica and others who warmed and thawed most of it, and then it was shattered by Adam in one fell swoop. Las Vegas. Small theater. When Helena walked away to greet other guests, Adam finally came back to his senses after being reminded by Juno and the others, and smiled bitterly in his heart. It's not that he discriminates against Helena. In his previous life, as a small loser in the online literary world, he always looked up to those big men who dressed up as women to repay their readers after achieving an amazing goal. If it were him, if his performance could reach that level, he wouldn't mind dressing up as a woman. So how could he discriminate and laugh at her? It's really that his relationship with Helena is very complicated. If he guessed correctly, Helena should be Chandler's father and Nora's ex-husband. And what about him? He is Chandler's good friend and Nora's good friend. Now, Helena like this is flirting with him with ambiguous words, which means that he has a good psychological quality, Otherwise he would have lost his composure long ago. Chapter 184. The smile gradually changes. Las Vegas. Small theater. Men above and below. Hallelujah. Men above and below. Amen. Helena returned to the stage and began to dance and sing. The lyrics were so fresh and refined. However, Adam's attention was on the dancers behind him. These were 4 men wearing only shorts wrapped in yellow tape hats, yellow tape boots, and bare upper bodies. The one on the far left danced particularly happily, and from time to time he winked at Adam and the others, who was Joey. It was not easy to wait until the end of the performance. Adam dragged Joey out of the small theater and asked, "Why did you come here to be a dancer?" "Looking for a job." Joey smiled and said, "I was an ancient Roman soldier in Caesar's palace during the day, and I came here to dance with him at night." Compared to the ancient Roman soldier who had no challenges, dancing here is at least a stage performance, which can enhance my performance ability. What do you think of my performance? Great. Excellent. Juno and Heather laughed. Joey pursed his lips and tilted his head, becoming more and more proud. That scene is so beautiful that I dare not look at it. Adam complained and got to the point. Did you come here on your own initiative? Yeah. Joey nodded and said, the director and his friends left at that time, and I needed to find a job, so I looked for one here, but it was not easy to find a suitable job. I happened to meet Helena, and she knew I was looking for a job, so she asked me to be a backup dancer. As soon as he saw you, he asked you to be a backup dancer? Adam thought for a moment. Joey, didn't he fall in love with you? Juno joked. How could that be? Joey quickly explained. Helena and Mr. Garibaldi, who plays the piano, are a couple. They are very loving. Don't get me wrong. What are you thinking about? Juno glanced at Adam. Nothing. Adam shook his head. Joey, I booked a luxury suite for you. You can move in. Really? Joey's eyes immediately widened. Then the corners of his mouth opened, and he opened his arms and gave Adam a big hug. Adam, I knew you were the best to me. Luxury suite. God, this must be a sign that I will soon become the leading actor of a movie. Well, he was still thinking about his leading actor of a movie. And for normal leading actors of movies, the crew arranged a luxury suite, which is the basic treatment. You are not the only one. Adam pushed Joey away and smiled. Chandler and the others are here. What? Joey shouted. Did you tell them? No. Adam complained. Susie is in this business. She is well informed. When I called them, they already knew. Chandler cares about you very much and asked to fly over to see you. Joey pursed his lips and smiled unconsciously. Obviously, Adam's words made him no longer angry with Chandler. In Adam's previous life, many people paired Joey and Chandler together, and it was not without reason. There was indeed a strong smell of homosexuality between them. Over there, Chandler's plane finally arrived in Las Vegas. As soon as he got off the plane, Ross came over, hugged Chandler and whispered, "You are so good. How did you do it?" What? Chandler was puzzled. Don't pretend. Ross looked at him ambiguously. On the plane. In the bathroom. You and Susie went to the bathroom together 3 times. Huh? Hee. Did you see it? Chandler nodded and rubbed his hands, laughing. Since reconciling with Susie and becoming a boyfriend and girlfriend, the psychological shadow brought by that time with Aurora in public has almost healed. And Susie, who has been in the crew for many years, seems to like this tune. As for Chandler, as a man, he naturally would not refuse such an exciting thing. Now that Ross took the initiative to bring it up, Chandler was quite proud. Of course, I'm not blind, Ross complained. Every time you walk by, there is such a strong smell, and the smell is getting stronger and stronger. Chandler's smile froze when he heard it. Why does this sound so awkward? Chandler couldn't help but put his nose to his chest and armpits, but he didn't smell anything. What kind of smell could it be? Okay, you are the person involved. You have been soaked in that smell. Your nose has long been accustomed to it. How could you smell it? Ross was eager to know the secret. Tell me, how did you make Susie so enthusiastic and proactive? Just kidding. Such an exciting thing. Which man doesn't want to try it? But how to convince your girlfriends to cooperate? That requires a lot of skills. At least, he couldn't get Rachel to cooperate with him. That's right. When he first discovered the secret between Chandler and Susie on the plane, He quietly invited Rachel to follow suit, but Rachel refused to agree because she was afraid of being discovered. It was Susie who took the initiative. Chandler smiled reservedly. "Please." Ross rolled his eyes and said, "Even if she took the initiative, there must be a reason, right? She can't be so proactive for no reason, right?" "Yeah." Seeing Ross staring at him fiercely, with an expression of "if you dare to say yes, I dare to take action," Chandler thought about it and said uncertainly, "Maybe it's because I said some unpleasant things in the past that made her want to comfort and compensate me." "Can it be like this?" Ross's eyes widened and he murmured, "But it seems to make sense. The routine of pretending to be pitiful to pick up girls is not new. It's just that it was used on strange women in the past. For Chandler to use it on his girlfriend, it's really a blind cat hitting a dead mouse? Absolutely amazing." "No, maybe this is the correct way to use this routine. Just imagine, how much affection can a strange woman have for you? No matter how miserable you say it, the effect will be greatly reduced. Even if you are not handsome, no matter how miserable you are, people will just treat it as a joke and it will be useless. But if it's your girlfriend, you already have feelings for each other. As long as you act miserable and sad enough, your girlfriend will definitely feel distressed. When you make some requests that are a bit excessive compared to usual, will your girlfriend have the heart to refuse, and not have the heart to refuse?" "Hey." Ross thought of this, touched his chin, and laughed, as if he had opened the door to a new world. But then he found the problem. He had lived too smoothly in his life. His parents loved him, his relatives and friends valued him, and he had a successful career. The only two setbacks were all in love. One was that his ex-wife divorced him because she was a lesbian, and the other was that he had a crush on Rachel since high school. But now Rachel is his girlfriend, and everyone has heard about his ex-wife's stories. What other sad things can he tell Rachel? Damn it. He thought about it, but he couldn't think of a decent tragedy. Otherwise, bring up the old things again, talk about how he was obsessed with Rachel back then. Ross racked his brains, but couldn't think of a new story. But he was eager to verify it, so he could only put new water into old bottles. He patted his face, forced himself into a sad state, looked at Rachel, but couldn't help but smile, and his smile gradually became abnormal. With a little effort, a bicycle becomes a motorcycle. With a little pretense, a doctor becomes a professor. Chapter 185, The Surprise Appearance of a Female Gambling Partner. Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace. "Let's go to the casino and have some fun." After Joey left, Adam suppressed his complaints and smiled at Juno and the others. "Okay." Juno was eager to try. "I've never played before. Why don't you call Amy, Teddy and the others?" Heather reminded. "They must want to come out and play too." Adam suddenly had a headache. This meant a lot of people, especially Gabby, the big troublemaker, and Charlie, the little troublemaker. He was looking forward to his first experience in the casino. In his previous life, when the family reunited during festivals, playing mahjong and saying a good harvest was one of Adam's best memories since he was a child. And unlike those gamblers, Adam and the others played with their own family and never gambled with outsiders. They kept the money within their family and didn't gamble much. They gambled for fun. This also made Adam naturally interested in the famous casinos. In his previous life, he didn't have the chance to go to the world's famous casinos to see them. He had heard of the ones on the line, but Adam was annoyed by the devilish voice that sounded like a repeater, and he would just click the cross every time. After traveling here and struggling for 6 or 7 years, he finally had his own mine and came to the world's largest casino. If he didn't have a good time, he would feel uncomfortable. He even prepared a black coat, sunglasses, and matching clothes specially bought for Heather, just waiting to make a shining appearance. But if there were a family of all sizes around, Toby, the 5th child, might suddenly poop or pee, which would ruin the atmosphere. "Is it that serious?" Juno rolled her eyes at Adam. "How about we play with Amy, Teddy and the others, and you go alone? Is it okay?" Adam said in surprise. "Thank you very much, but Heather should come with me." In such an occasion, it would be a waste if Heather didn't follow him to set off. "Of course." "No." Juno put her arm around Heather and teased. This idea was proposed by Heather, so she should go. "Adam, you can have fun tonight. We will go to accompany Amy, Teddy and the others. Heather smiled and said, "It's not like we're going back tomorrow. The summer vacation is still long." "That's true," Adam said unhappily. "Then I'll go with you. My parents won't stay long anyway. They have to go back to work." "Forget it," Juno laughed and said, "Look at how anxious you are. Go and have fun." "TSK TSK TSK TSK, I really didn't realize you were a gambler before, haha." Adam smiled awkwardly. The habit that was developed in the previous life for more than 10 years, how can it be changed in a short time? After the few people agreed, they went back to the room together. Then, with Juno's jokes, Adam suited up, but because he was alone, without Heather to accompany him, and without a speaker, he only changed into a suit and didn't wear the black coat that he bought specially. After leaving the suite, Adam went straight to the casino's exchange office, exchanged $10,000 of chips, 9 chips of $1,000, plus 10 chips of $100, and then began to wander around the casino. Gambling machines, roulette, baccarat, blackjack and other classic gambling games are all available here. Adam tried them one by one. There were quite a few people gathered here at the gambling machines. There were also many elderly people among them. Adam couldn't help but smile knowingly when he saw these elderly people, because Sheldon's grandmother is this kind of person. She often went to the casino to play, and her gambling addiction was not small, so Sheldon's mother often worried that she would be taken away by the casino one day. This is not a casual complaint, but a factual basis. Most Americans have no savings, and Sheldon's grandmother naturally has none, but she has retired and has a monthly pension to receive. But gambling addiction will not wait until you receive your pension, and the casino does not accept credit. So, usually hovered in the casino. Sheldon's grandmother is an old gambler. Naturally, she has encountered situations where she wants to play but has no money. She is an old acquaintance of those who lend money, so much so that the people in charge of collecting loans sighed helplessly when they saw her, because it is not easy to collect loans from old hands. Of course, Sheldon's grandmother not only plays in the casino, she also plays various TV gambling. When little Sheldon showed super calculation ability and helped Sheldon's father to formulate football strategies and win consecutive victories, Sheldon's grandmother also targeted little Sheldon and secretly asked him to help calculate the winning rate of gambling so that she could place a heavy bet. However, at that time, little Sheldon was too time-consuming and energetic because of these, so he was too sleepy during the exam and directly calculated the results in his mind without writing the answering process. He was sentenced to a B+, and he immediately went crazy and complained to his mother. Then, everyone was severely criticized by Sheldon's mother, even Adam, who was innocently shot. But Sheldon's grandmother is Sheldon's mother's mother. She is not afraid, and still secretly asks Sheldon for help. The upset little Sheldon was also a clever guy. He gave her a wrong answer directly. After Sheldon's grandmother lost a lot, she never asked Sheldon to help with the spinach again. In her eyes, I'm afraid she thought Sheldon's calculations were useless. Some of these old men and women were playing, while others were just holding large paper cups with coins. The gambling machine will release a large number of coins after winning, just in time for these large paper cups. Staring at the guests who were playing the gambling machine, once these guests lost all their coins, or didn't want to play this anymore, they got up and left, and immediately there would be old men and women rushing over to grab a seat. They were so quick and agile that they didn't look like old people at all. They even quarreled over seats. Adam smiled again. He knew what they were doing. This is called a gambler. A gambling machine, when someone has been playing for a while and hasn't won any money, after leaving, the gambler will immediately sit on it and take over the game, so that the chance of winning the jackpot will be much greater. Ross's grandmother often did this when she was alive. Adam watched for a while, shook his head and left. These old people are extremely addicted. Even if they have this little trick to gamble and spend all their time here, they still lose 9 out of 10 times. Who knows? This so-called little trick is actually secretly released by the casino itself. After walking around the hall, Adam went to the VIP area. The grade here is obviously much higher. Adam sat down at a baccarat table, put down the chips, and played casually. When the dealer dealt the cards to him, He was interested in learning the classic card viewing posture he had seen in the God of Gamblers, the Saint of Gamblers, the Gambler, the King of Gamblers, and the King of Kings in his previous life. He slowly unveiled the cards and secretly glanced at them with his eyes when a fragrant breeze blew over. Then a pleasant female voice came from behind. Three sides, top, top. Chapter 186, Chicken Eating Legend. Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace. Three sides, top, top. This is the classic call. Win. Adam opened it and saw that he really won, but this scene was familiar to him, as if he had seen it somewhere, so he looked up and looked back. A flash of surprise flashed in his eyes, but he saw a beautiful woman standing behind him, wearing a tight suit and a red miniskirt, and she was extremely beautiful. Adam has been through thousands of days and nights in the past few years, and he is well informed. He has long been able to remain calm, and naturally he will not lose his composure because of her beautiful appearance and beautiful dress. The reason why he was surprised was because he recognized this face. How could she appear here? Adam's mind was racing, but his face remained calm. When the dealer pushed the winning chip over, he casually picked up a chip of 100 and handed it to the other party. The beautiful woman took it easily, with skillful movements, smiling without saying a word. Adam understood, she should be the female public relations in the casino, or to use the more fashionable term in the university in the previous life, a female gambling partner, accompanying guests to gamble and earning tips for guests. Gambling alone is not easy with a beautiful woman accompanying them, calling out for them in various ways, and having intimate contact from time to time. Who knows, there may be follow-up activities after the game to be exciting and refreshing. As for the casino, the guests will be more likely to gamble with a female gambling partner. Those who used to only play 10,000 may play 100,000 this time. The bigger the bet, the greater the profit of the casino. After all, 9 out of 10 bets are lost. As for having a female gambling partner and then being possessed by the goddess of luck and winning big, it doesn't matter. Not to mention that the probability is too small, even if you really win big. First of all, the female gambling partner will get a lot of tips. She will be more motivated to continue if she is satisfied. You know, not everyone can be a female gambling partner. Beauty is only a basic condition, and being familiar with the gambling game, understanding the psychology of gamblers, how to mobilize the gambling nature of gamblers, and how to appease the emotions of gamblers after losing money are all very skillful. Then, this time he was lucky enough to win a lot. For her own benefit, would the female gambling partner encourage the gambler to continue gambling? Of course. As long as you continue to gamble, losing money is inevitable. So are there those who are particularly rational and stop after winning a lot of money? Of course there are. But it doesn't matter if you don't gamble. Casinos have all kinds of high consumption places. Gamblers who win big money have beautiful gambling partners to accompany them. Can he not spend impulsively? As long as they spend impulsively, the casino can still make money back. Even if he can tolerate all this, it doesn't matter, because this is also a good publicity. There must be someone who gets rich overnight to attract more people to the casino. In short, no matter whether you win or not, the casino will never lose money anyway. Adam played for a while, and the beautiful public relations still stood behind him, helping Adam to call out every time he looked at the cards. Not to mention, today's luck is particularly good. In a short while, he doubled the chips of $10,000, not counting the scattered tips. That's more than $1,000. Of course, luck is only temporary. Adam stopped when he saw that he was ahead, and stood up and left the gambling table. The beautiful PR girl was still following Adam. Would you like to meet her? Adam smiled and held out his hand. My name is Adam. My name is Nicole. The beautiful girl smiled and shook hands with Adam. Real name? Adam was surprised. He didn't expect her to say her real name right away. Then he realized that this might not be her real name. After all, this was a world mixed with American TV series and movies. Alice. The beautiful PR girl glanced at Adam, smiled and said another name. Adam looked at her and realized that this should be her real name. Do you know Tom Cruise? Adam looked at this familiar face and couldn't help asking. No. Alice shook her head. What about William Hever? Adam asked. No impression at all. Alice smiled and said, "Are these all your friends? Do you mean I look like their ex-girlfriends? Haha." Adam smiled without commenting. Although he didn't know them now, it didn't mean he wouldn't know them in the future. Adam couldn't help but look at her again. She should be in her early 20s now, so it's normal that he doesn't know her. "You work part-time here?" "Yes," Alice smiled and said. "My father took me away from Hawaii when I was a child and came to Las Vegas, and I have lived here ever since. I came here part-time when I was in junior high school, until I passed the college entrance examination and left here, but every time I have a holiday, I will come back to work part-time to earn tuition fees. After all, tuition fees are too expensive." "Yes," Adam nodded in understanding. "Do you think so too?" Alice teased. "The tuition fees are expensive for us, for you. Even if they increase several times, it's just a matter of buying one less car, right? The landlord doesn't have any surplus food." Adam laughed. "Still playing?" Alice's eyes flashed. "Do you have any recommendations?" Adam smiled and looked at her. 21, Alice said generously. "This is what I am best at. Maybe I can help you a little." "You are good at 21? Adam was surprised. "It seems that you have also heard of the legend of eating chicken." Alice smiled and said, "I am good at math." "What legend of eating chicken?" Adam asked curiously. "You don't know?" Alice was surprised. "Some time ago, a group of top students from MIT came to Las Vegas to count cards and play blackjack. They won a lot of money. Later, they were discovered by the casino supervisors, expelled, and blacklisted by all casinos." Adam had a vague impression that this seemed to be the content of a movie he had seen in his previous life. He couldn't help laughing and said, "Since casinos don't allow card counting, why do you still count?" "It's different," Alice smiled and said. "They count cards in groups, and even invented a unique and secret gesture language for this purpose. The efficiency is very high, and the winning rate is naturally higher. The casino has now strengthened the supervision of group counting, and I am not as good as them, and there is only one person. Even if I count cards, it only slightly improves the winning rate, which has little impact." There is another thing she didn't say. She is a casino employee. As long as her method of attracting customers by relying on strength is not excessive, the casino will not care, because even if she wins a lot in the beginning, she can earn enough tips in the end. As long as she tilts her butt slightly without it making a sound, the customer's winnings may be lost in one go. "What if someone counts cards alone as well as others in a group?" Adam asked curiously. "Impossible." Alice shook her head and said, "One person can never be as good as a team." Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. He couldn't help but think of Sheldon. If Sheldon is brought here, with his super mathematical calculation ability and high-definition image memory, can he start a group by himself? P.S. Thanks to Like a Fragile Life and book friend 1611300206555765 for the reward. Chapter 187 Late Night Coffee, Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace. "Do you know such a genius?" Alice keenly sensed the meaning of Adam's laughter. "Yes," Adam laughed. "There are more than one. Sheldon definitely has such ability. In the future, when his research hits a bottleneck and he needs $500 million to build equipment for experiments to verify his theory, he first applies for funds from the school, and then raises funds on his own, but all failed." At Rajesh's reminder, Sheldon came to Las Vegas to count cards, but unfortunately he was carried out by security guards just after he finished counting, and his calculation was completely correct. And Peggy, in mathematics, is even better than Sheldon. Both of them are super geniuses who can form a team. In their eyes, the group of top students at MIT are just engineers like Howard, not even real scientists. "It's useless," Alice laughed. "It was possible before, but now even if your friends are really that good, it's impossible to win big money in the casino." "Not even one person can do it?" Adam said in surprise. "Do you see those cameras?" Alice pointed at the cameras hanging on the wall. "In the past, we hired special monitoring personnel to monitor whether anyone was cheating. As long as you are careful, it is possible, just like the group of top students from MIT before. But now the casino has paid a lot of money to buy a system, The computer can automatically detect cheaters and card counters based on facial expressions and abnormal income and expenditure at the card table. It's really advanced. Adam sighed. This method was considered advanced in Adam's previous life, but he didn't expect it to be installed here. The casino has plenty of money. Alice smiled and said, as long as it works, even the most advanced technology that has just come out of the laboratory can be obtained. Adam nodded unconsciously. The mass production of scientific and technological equipment and the research and development in the laboratory are completely different concepts. The time difference can even reach 5 years, 10 years, or even longer, because laboratory research and development and manufacturing are relatively easy as long as the cost is not taken into account. For mass production, the cost issues involved in large-scale production must be considered. If the cost is too high, it will not be put into production at all, and naturally the latest technology will not be seen on the market. Moreover, the update and iteration speed of scientific and technological products is very fast. In order to make ends meet, high-tech companies simply cannot release the latest technology directly. They usually release the previous generations of products. What's more, they can release new products by slightly changing the appearance. Just like Adam's mobile phone in his previous life, it is a routine operation for major mobile phone manufacturers to release new mobile phones every year. It is not uncommon to release 2 models a year. People buy mobile phones and generally only use them for about 1 or 2 years. Once the time is up, the speed of the mobile phone will immediately slow down, or the battery power will become virtual power, forcing you to buy a new one. Is there no deliberate design by the mobile phone company? How is it possible? The quality is so good. Who would spend money to buy a new mobile phone? Ordinary people may repair it for another year or simply endure it because of the price. It's okay as long as it can be used. But for rich people, it's different. They pursue the most advanced technology and the best service. What does it matter if the laboratory builds it at a high price and buys it at a premium? Las Vegas, as the largest gambling city in the world today, is naturally not short of money. While Adam was thinking about things, Alice was secretly looking at him. She has been hanging around in casinos since she was a child, and she is also a smart woman. She is very talented in how to identify men. Walking in the casino, with a glance, she can quickly distinguish who is a tourist, who is a low-level gambler, who is a gambler, who is a big gambler, and who is her target. After Adam's food, clothing, housing and transportation came up, she was simply shining in her eyes, especially so young and handsome. She was the most ideal target in her mind. So, she approached him at the first time. The only thing that surprised her was that Adam's eyes were not as amazing and obsessed as other men. But after thinking about it for a while, she didn't think it was strange. After all, such a handsome, young and rich man, not to mention surrounded by beautiful women, but must be knowledgeable. Although she is young and beautiful, she is not arrogant enough to rely on her appearance and figure to charm all men. From childhood to adulthood, what she is most proud of is not her appearance and figure, but her mind. Dad is a gambler, not only can't take care of her, but also constantly drags her down. Everything depends on herself. In this environment, she relied on her own intelligence and hard work to get out and get into a good university. Now that she has graduated and successfully received an admission letter from Columbia University Medical School, she can become a proud surgeon in the future, get rid of the past and become a superior person. However, the tuition fee of Columbia University Medical School is too expensive. After 4 years, it will be a heavy burden. After graduating from medical school, she wants to live an upper-class life as soon as possible, rather than survive with such a heavy burden. So, she chose to continue to work part-time in Las Vegas casinos, while she was young, to earn all the tuition fees as soon as possible, and when she got out of medical school, she would be able to relax and be free. Of course, there is a lighter shortcut, that is to find a rich man to marry, but as smart as she is, she does not believe in the dream that everything will be fine if she marries into a wealthy family. If she really encounters such a good thing, she will never give up becoming a surgeon. She will only let the other party sponsor her and become the nutrients for her rapid growth. It is better to rely on yourself than on anyone else. Going out to play? Seeing Adam come back to his senses, Alice asked immediately. Okay. Adam nodded. Under Alice's guidance, he sat down at a gambling table and started playing 21 points. To Adam's surprise, Alice was really good at math. She leaned close to his ear and kept calculating for him. Following her tips, he really won more and lost less. Tips were naturally given continuously. When Adam calculated the time, he found that Chandler and his friends were almost there, and decided to end the game with his capital doubled again. If it were an ordinary person, he might take advantage of his luck and increase the bet. But Adam stopped at the right time. The capital was 10,000, doubled twice, and won 30,000. For him, it was just a small amount of money, and he didn't care. If it wasn't exciting enough, he wouldn't be too involved. If he really gambled tens of millions, he would definitely have a different mentality. Would you like to go to my place for a cup of coffee? Alice invited. Drinking coffee? Adam glanced at Alice, who had a first-rate appearance and figure, and whose skin was as white jade. He secretly felt sorry for her, but said seriously, how can you sleep after drinking coffee at this late hour? Alice. Chapter 188. A reckless group. Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace. After flirting with Alice seriously, Adam smiled and said goodbye. On the one hand, he was going to pick up Chandler and the others. On the other hand, the whole family was here, and there was Heather, who had just been promoted to girlfriend. She sacrificed her own entertainment time to accompany your family, and you gave her a hat in return. It was really unreasonable. So, Adam could only be a straight man and decline Bayu Guanyan's invitation to start a war. To be honest, Alice at this age has not yet become the mother of Aquaman. She is a princess who just escaped from the ocean. Adam could have been the father of Aquaman, but as Rajesh said, Aquaman is the worst. So, Adam doesn't want to be such a father. Well, really don't want to. Looking at Adam's figure walking away in a chic way, Alice was stunned for a long time. Was he too naive to understand, or was she disliked? The answer is obvious. Coffee has the effect of refreshing the mind. Drinking coffee late at night is like the lice on a bald head. It's obvious that you don't want to sleep and want to do something. To paraphrase a classic Western saying, everyone knows. Well, there are people like Sheldon in this world who may not understand this hint, but Adam is not that kind of person. So how could he not know? So, Alice's face suddenly darkened. The nearly $3,000 in tips that she received tonight, which was far more than usual, suddenly didn't make much sense. Although she thought she could rely on her face but chose to rely on her talent to make a living, she was very rational. But when others looked down on her face, she didn't even want him to see her talent. Bah! You are not a man. Alice cursed in her heart and went back unhappy. Adam didn't know this. He had already gone back to find Joey and went to pick up Chandler and the others. Joey, Chandler. The two looked at each other. One saw the apology in the other's eyes, and the other saw the forgiveness in the other's eyes, called out affectionately, and then rushed to each other and gave each other a hug full of gay love. Susie couldn't help rolling her eyes. She completely understood how much of a shock Chandler had suffered as a child. Judging from the situation, if Chandler's father hadn't run off with Mr. Garibaldi, if she had stayed a few more years, she might not have had a chance to work now. Then she couldn't help laughing again. It was just right now. Chandler was still more masculine, and he also had several little skills that women really needed. For example, he painted her nails, drew her eyebrows, and curled her eyelashes, and his level was better than hers. You know, she was a professional makeup artist. Do you want me to get you a room? Adam teased. Oh, by the way, I've already got one. Otherwise, I'll take you in now. Chandler realized his own gaffe and quickly pushed Joey away. He twisted his body uncomfortably and turned his head, then opened his arms to Adam with a smile on his face. Adam, stop. Adam reached out to stop Chandler's disguised hug. Everyone, go and settle down first. This is Las Vegas and the night has just begun. Oh, yeah. Monica and Phoebe immediately waved and shouted. What's wrong with you? Adam looked at Rachel and Ross again. Not very happy? Nothing, Rachel and Ross said in unison, then looked at each other, then shook their heads and ignored each other. Okay, as long as you are happy. Adam didn't bother to care about the two R's, Ross, Rachel. There was just too much drama and exaggeration between them. They were always angry, misunderstanding and reconciliation, and the cycle continued. Even with Adam, a big butterfly, he couldn't fan them. As miserable as Chandler was, he was led to a different path by him, but the two R's really couldn't lead them. I heard from Adam that you are performing a show here? Chandler pulled Joey to the back and asked quietly, what show? Oh, speaking of this, you can't believe it, I dance with the drag queen. Isn't it great? Joey said proudly. Ha, ha. Chandler had no luck anymore, and could only laugh twice in an exaggerated way. Don't think that he said so nicely to Susie on the plane, but that was because Susie forced him into the state of saintly Buddha 3 times in a row, and the aura of forgiveness reached its maximum, and he wanted to forgive everyone. Now that he got off the plane, after this period of buffering, he has initially exited the state of saintly Buddha, and the aura of forgiveness has faded, and the previous complex emotions have surfaced in his heart again. Now it has been confirmed that Joey has probably really met his good father. It would be strange if Chandler didn't get entangled. What's wrong? Joey noticed that Chandler was not right. Nothing, Chandler said perfunctorily. He thought he should talk to Adam first. In this regard, Adam is more reliable. Arrived at the luxury suite, Monica and Phoebe were the happiest, cheering and jumping for joy. Even Rachel, who was obviously at odds with Ross, was very happy, and kept visiting, and then began to compete for the best room. There are 4 rooms here. Adam would not treat his good friends badly, and he opened the largest and best suite for them. Chandler and Susie have 1, Monica and Phoebe have 1, Joey has 1, Rachel and Ross have 1. I want to live alone, Rachel interrupted. Let him live with Joey. Let him live. Ross also got angry, and shouted exaggeratedly, I like living with Joey the most, because he will never reject me. Everyone. Adam's mouth twitched. What kind of fierce words were these? Ross. Joey pushed Ross awkwardly. What? Ross didn't realize that his words were too fierce. I still have to reject you. Joey raised his hand seriously and said, this is not targeting you personally, nor is it discrimination. It's just that I only like women, beautiful women. By the way, didn't you always love Rachel before? Why did you suddenly change your interest? That's because we were all deceived by him, Rachel complained. In fact, it is normal for him to like men, because he is a woman among women, and he is very fussy. If he is not satisfied, he will explode. I am a woman among women? Ross pointed at his nose, as if he turned into a roaring emperor again. Then you are a man among men. I just want to change the tricks with you, but you twist your hands and feet. I have said it so pitifully, but you still don't agree? Where is your sympathy for women? Want to play misery? Rachel said contemptuously. Don't you see who I am? Even my little sister doesn't like your tricks. You know, the tricks they use are all the ones I have left. OMG, Chandler understood. Then he had a deep admiration for Ross. From getting off the plane to getting here by car, it was just a short while, but Ross actually went straight to the stage. He was really reckless. P.S. Thanks to Yin for the tip. There will be more in the evening. Chapter 189. I thought you treated me as a brother. Las Vegas. Caesar's Palace. Amidst the noise, everyone was assigned to a room. Chandler and Susie, Monica and Phoebe, Joey and Ross, Rachel each had a room. Adam, shall we talk later? Chandler whispered to Adam. Okay. Adam understood and nodded immediately, saying to everyone, ladies and gentlemen, Las Vegas night has just begun. Enjoy it. Oh, Monica clapped her hands and shouted, Las Vegas, baby, here I come. Adam couldn't help laughing, and walked out of the suite with Chandler, reminding him, take care of Monica later, you know her. Okay. Chandler was stunned at first, then nodded and said, I will. Both knew that with Monica's personality, tonight she would either lose all her pants and come back in a mess, or she would party all night. There was no third result. Outside Caesar's Palace, the glittering and colorful city that never sleeps showed her unique charm to everyone. Are you worried? The two walked along the avenue, and Adam glanced at Chandler. Yeah, Chandler sighed. Tell me about it. Adam knew what was going on in his heart, but he didn't intend to say it actively. Because of his special relationship with Nora, neither he nor Nora planned to expose it to Chandler. Sometimes, white lies are necessary. Those who say that they must be honest and do it immediately are just unable to control their sudden emotions. Just like Leonard pursued Penny for many years and finally got engaged, but he didn't get married for a long time. One day, he suddenly got impulsive and told Penny that we should go to Las Vegas to get married. Las Vegas is the fastest place to get married in the world. When you get there, you can take an oath in the church and it's okay. And it's not just a fun marriage, but a formal marriage protected by law. How fast, good and economical is the extreme. After Penny agreed, the two drove to Las Vegas. On the way, Leonard said a secret with a constipated look on his face. That is, when he was on a ship to go to sea for scientific research, he kissed a female scientist after getting drunk. But it was just a kiss, and there was no follow-up action because he braked in time. Penny had a look of hash and dog on her face and asked Leonard what he meant and why he said this at this time. Leonard said sincerely, "We are about to get married, so I don't want to lie to you about anything." Penny took a few deep breaths and finally chose to forgive, but the good mood of impulsive marriage was gone. Adam agreed with Leonard's mother Beverly's analysis. When Leonard and Penny had been engaged for a year without any plans to get married, Beverly said that Leonard and Penny didn't actually want to get married. And the reason why Leonard said that he had concealed the bad things for several years on the way to Las Vegas was probably because he regretted it subconsciously and wanted to ruin the upcoming wedding. Because what Leonard said, not wanting to deceive Penny about anything, is completely nonsense. Are you kidding? Who doesn't have some secrets between husband and wife? Is there a wife who doesn't chop off her hands? Is there a husband who doesn't hide private money? Besides, can Leonard keep secrets in his heart? Don't laugh. He even bought a trunk full of takeout boxes from a Chinese restaurant to keep Sheldon from getting angry when Sheldon's favorite Chinese restaurant closed down. He pretended to bring Sheldon takeout from the original Chinese restaurant year after year. Do you dare to say that he can't keep a secret? There is also the temperature of the central air conditioning in the apartment. Although he strictly follows Sheldon's requirements on the surface, Leonard has secretly adjusted it privately and has been hiding it for more than 10 years. Sheldon didn't know until he moved out of the apartment. Evidence: when Sheldon and his friends were having dinner, they heard crickets chirping. Sheldon listed the formula on the whiteboard based on the frequency of the chirping and the temperature of the room. This was said, but the formula on the whiteboard is indeed real, so it is assumed that there is no scene where Sheldon writes the formula, and immediately got the type of cricket. Then Howard refuted that it was another kind of cricket, because he had been playing with crickets as specimens since he was a child and was very familiar with crickets. The two quarreled, and neither could convince the other, so they took great pains to catch the cricket, looking for information and looking for professors. In the end, Sheldon actually lost, and lost the precious comics he kept in the bank safe to Howard, whom he looked down upon. Sheldon was frightened by the heart-wrenching roar of the insect professor, and did not think about the problem carefully. But mathematics will not lie. Sheldon's counting of the frequency of cricket chirping was not wrong, and the temperature of the apartment was also permanently set according to the roommate agreement. Sheldon's calculations were almost never wrong, but he lost. The biggest possibility is that Leonard secretly tampered with the constant temperature, causing Sheldon to make a mistaken calculation. Such examples are everywhere. Therefore, Leonard is very good at hiding secrets. But on such an important and happy day, he suddenly confessed frankly. He must have regretted it subconsciously. He didn't want to get married and wanted to make trouble, but he didn't want to terminate it himself, and he hoped to tell this bad thing to make Penny terminate it, but he never expected that Penny would forgive him. So, frankness was useless except for ruining the atmosphere of that day. Back to the problem of Adam and Nora. When they first met, Adam had not met Chandler, nor did he know that Nora was Chandler's mother. After Nora left New York, Adam met Chandler and learned the truth, and the two no longer had a close relationship. In the occasional contact over the past few years, they also talked about this topic, and agreed that concealment was the best way for everyone. Once Chandler knew, he would definitely be entangled and sad. Adam's unique position in his mind would also be distorted. It turns out that there is no such beautiful friendship in this world. I thought you regarded me as a brother, but in fact you are my father. Of course, with Chandler's personality, he will definitely forgive Adam in the end. But why? This is actually not a white lie, because the lie must be told first. Chandler can't even think of it, and naturally he won't mention it. Adam has no subjective idea of hurting Chandler, so he naturally has no psychological pressure. "Did you go to Joey's show?" Chandler asked. "Did you see a drag queen named Helena Hard Basic?" "Yeah." Adam nodded and didn't say much. Now it was Chandler who wanted to talk, and all he had to do was to be a listener. "He's my dad." Chandler smiled bitterly. "Huh?" Adam was just surprised. Yes, Chandler wanted to talk to Adam, who had always helped and encouraged him, and he told him all about his dad. "I see." Adam suddenly realized, this time, he was not pretending. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190 Fateful Encounter. Las Vegas. Outside Caesar's Palace. "What did you know?" Chandler looked at Adam with some surprise and expectation. "I know your father loves you." Adam said what Chandler wanted to hear. "I can't bear this kind of love." Chandler subconsciously sneered. "He didn't do well when you were a teenager." "He was not a qualified father, there is no doubt about that." Adam smiled and said, "But you also know that they are the lost generation. When they were young, they only cared about themselves. They did what they thought and didn't care about other people's ideas, even their relatives' ideas. This is a very common social phenomenon, but I believe that he has changed now. He has got what he wanted. As he grows older, he also knows how much psychological trauma his selfishness has caused you, so he has been contacting you, wanting to be your father again." Okay, maybe mother. "Two mothers can't give birth to me. This is unscientific." Chandler habitually sneered, then stopped, looked at Adam, and patiently waited for Adam to continue. Your repeated rejection made him realize the depth of the hurt. Adam continued. "So, he didn't force himself to get close, but chose to pay attention silently. If I'm not mistaken, he must have been to New York, even more than once, and saw you from a distance in a place you couldn't see." "Why do you say that?" Chandler was shocked. "Because he knows Joey." Adam analyzed. When he first met Joey looking for a job, he offered help without hesitation. "Tonight I appeared in the small theater, and when he saw me, his eyes were a little wrong, and he directly set me as the first audience for the opening exchange. Now think about it, he should have recognized me." "And why does he know Joey and me?" "Because he saw me with you and knew you were my good friends," Chandler murmured. "That's it," Adam confirmed, "and it's probably not just once, because we are not always together." Chandler was silent. Adam didn't say anything more, and accompanied him, just walking like this. This is a knot in his heart, and others can only point it out to a certain extent. The real decision can only be made by Chandler himself. They walked for a long time. Chandler suddenly said, "What should I do?" "It's up to you." Adam smiled and said, "I think you already have the answer in your heart. Can you go with me tomorrow night?" Chandler took a deep breath. Of course. Even though it was awkward, Adam still agreed without hesitation. Nora was still a very special person to him, completely different from the simple female friends in the past, such as Magical Amy, Jennifer, Veronica, etc. Because no matter how much he said that he didn't need Nora's help, her appearances still made Adam's early publishing of The Lord of Mysteries very smooth. After that, the communication between the two was even more smooth and tacit. Nora was reluctant to leave for a while, but she had to leave because she was really moved. A beautiful woman who is very in line with your aesthetics, so devoted to you. Any man will not be unmoved. Adam naturally would not be indifferent, but because he insisted on his principles, he chose to ignore it. Then he met Chandler and became good friends, and he and Nora naturally broke off their relationship. Putting aside his love for Chandler in his previous life and the system's need to increase power points, Nora's existence is definitely an important reason why Adam treats Chandler differently. In his previous life and this life, his mental age is barely enough. He has witnessed Chandler's life for 10 years and can barely be regarded as watching Chandler grow up. In a sense, Adam really took on the role of dad intentionally or unintentionally. Thinking of this, Adam couldn't help but grin. Over there, under the leadership of Joey, Monica and others came to the gambling hall, and then separated and found their favorite gambling games. The truth is that too much is as bad as too little, and it is true everywhere. Therefore, Adam only provided accommodation, and did not provide chips like a package. The chips were all exchanged by themselves. Among the crowd, Phoebe and Rachel were in the worst financial situation. They didn't even exchange chips, but only exchanged some coins, took the large paper cups specially matched with the gambling machines, and went to play the gambling machines excitedly. Monica and Ross, a chef and a doctor, both had good conditions, so they exchanged chips for $500 each and went around the whole place first. Then, Ross chose blackjack because it was a game that tested wisdom, and as a doctor, he thought he had a great advantage. Monica squeezed into the most lively double dice table. Double dice game is a very classic gambling game. There are various dice points and different odds on the gambling table. Everyone can bet. The player who throws the dice, takes turns, throws the dice on the gambling table and pays according to the points obtained. This game is very lively because it can be participated by the most people and has related interests, and shouting and calling are endless. In Iron Man, Tony Shit likes to play this. Of course, he plays it more advanced because there are beautiful women blowing air on the dice in his hand, as if the goddess of luck blesses him, full of pink breath. Monica likes this kind of liveliness, especially when it is her turn to be the player who throws the dice, and everyone is waiting for her lucky throw. This feeling is even stronger. She loves this feeling. She was seen jumping and shouting, and when the points were the same as she hoped, she clenched her fists and waved her hands, and from time to time she pointed her fingers at the players around her, and she was very excited. Susie followed the crew to travel all over the country, and it was not her first time to Las Vegas, so she played the roulette game calmly. As for Joey, what he always cared about most was eating and having sex. "Hey, Alice, how are you doing?" Joey winked at Alice, who had changed her clothes and was about to leave. "Oh, Joey." Alice looked at Joey like a fool and shook her head and said, "Don't waste your time on me, you're not my type." Joey had naturally noticed Alice a long time ago in Caesar's palace, and had invited her more than once, but Joey, who was dressed as an ancient Roman soldier for people to take pictures, was not in Alice's eyes no matter how handsome he looked. Joey's smile remained unchanged as he watched Alice leave. He pursed his lips and nodded, saying proudly, "You've made progress again. At least you said something to me this time, Joey. You can do it." First it was Adam and then Joey. Alice walked out of Caesar's palace in a bad mood and bumped into someone head-on. She was about to lose her temper, but when she looked up, she was stunned. P.S. Thanks to book friend 151112113253743 for the reward. Chapter 191 Admonition Meeting, Las Vegas. In front of Caesar's palace. Hi. Alice looked up and found that it was a handsome young man who bumped into her. She glanced at him and was a little disappointed. The other party was handsome, but he was too short. He was not even as tall as her in high heels. That was not a big deal. The key was that he was dressed in ordinary clothes and exuded an aura that she didn't like. These two major shortcomings combined made him look like another Joey, but his eyes were particularly attractive, making her feel inexplicably familiar. So, compared to her indifference to Joey, she responded to the handsome guy's greeting with a smile, but that was all. After laughing, Alice turned around and left. The handsome guy was left staring at her, disappearing back in a daze, and he didn't come back to his senses for a long time. "This woman is so beautiful and so touching. William, dear, come here quickly." At this moment, a woman's voice came and interrupted the handsome William's trance. "Here I am." William glanced at the middle-aged woman dressed in jewels and gems who was walking not far away. The good feeling and throbbing in his heart disappeared instantly, and he went to meet her with his head held high. Feelings are just feelings. People always have to eat. He successfully got the admission letter of Columbia University Medical School after working hard and never giving up, but the high tuition fee was still a heavy pressure. There was no way, and he still had to work part-time to earn tuition. At this moment, he was extremely fortunate that Alice did not stick to him like other women and left cleanly. Otherwise, What would she think when she saw this scene? Wouldn't his perfect image be shattered? When he was entangled, the middle-aged woman with ordinary appearance but tall bones saw William, and took William's arm in surprise like a little girl, and happily went to the luxurious suite that had been booked long ago under the guidance of the waiter. When their figures disappeared in the hall, Adam and Chandler walked in and laughed. "Let's go and see them first." Adam smiled. "Let's go see Monica first," Chandler mocked. "I just hope she's still wearing pants." "We should be thankful that casinos don't accept pants anymore," Adam added. The two went straight to the craps table. "Double eight. Double eight. It must be double eight this time." Before they got close, Monica's familiar voice came over many people's voices. Based on the sharpness of her voice, Adam and Chandler knew that Monica must have lost a lot. "Oh Tilda." Then Monica screamed, "Damn it, it's not double eight again." Adam and Chandler stood aside and saw Monica wailing and complaining, very excited, and there was no chip in front of her. Seeing that it was about to start again, Monica was anxious and looked around at everyone. "Who can lend me some chips? I'll go get the money and pay you back later." No one responded, and they looked at Monica as if she was a fool. This kind of words are the most unbelievable in the casino. If you really have money, just go and change it yourself. Is it just a little time? Well, Monica was indeed short of this little time. She was addicted to gambling and didn't want to waste any extra time. No. Seeing that no one would lend her money and the gambling continued, she screamed and ran out. When she saw Adam and Chandler, her eyes were shining, and she rushed straight to Adam with the speed and skills of the Geller Cup football champion. "Adam, lend me some money." "How much did you lose?" Adam looked at Monica hanging on him speechlessly. $1,500. Monica shouted, "I must win it back." "What?" Chandler said in disbelief. "You lost $1,500 in just a short time? I remember you only exchanged $500 in chips, didn't you?" Yes, Monica said anxiously, "but I won at the beginning, and I won $1,000 at one point. Now I not only lost all my winnings, but also all my $500 chips. I must win it back, I must win it back." Her movements were so big that Adam couldn't stand it. He quickly pulled her down and advised, "You only exchange as many chips as you did at the beginning. It's over when you lose all. Didn't we agree on this in advance?" "No," Monica screamed. "I can't lose. I can definitely win." "Chandler, what do you say?" Adam laughed. "I think it's better if the casino even takes pants." Chandler sneered. "Then let's see if Monica can continue to gamble." "Oh, haha, you underestimate me." Monica, who was addicted to gambling, shook her finger, as if she dared to gamble if they dared to take her. "Okay, I'll lend you $500, and it's over after you lose this time," Adam said helplessly. "Deal." Monica got the money and ran to exchange chips. "You don't really believe her, do you?" Chandler said in surprise. "Of course not," Adam complained. "I think we can gather everyone and hold a criticism meeting. A persuasion meeting, and wait until Monica loses all the $500. The time is just right." "Agree." Chandler rubbed his hands and smiled. "I'll go find someone." The two acted separately. Sure enough, Monica lost everything again, and still struggled to borrow money to continue fighting. Adam lied to her that he was going back to get the money, and took her back to the luxury suite. "Hey, no, this is our room. How did we get here with the money?" Monica realized it as soon as she reached the door. Adam didn't give her a chance to object, but pushed her in directly, then closed the door, leaned against it, and looked at her tenderly. In the living room, Chandler, Ross, Rachel and others were all there, looking at her tenderly. There was a lonely chair in front of them, and there was a banner behind them, Monica's Gambling Addict Advice Meeting. "Monica, please sit down." OMG. Monica covered her mouth and uttered a classic exclamation. Only then did she come back to her senses from the crazy gambling addiction that she had to win, and knew that things were serious. This kind of situation would only be put up when friends made a big mistake and everyone felt it was necessary to help each other correct it. At the beginning, even if Chandler kept smoking, everyone just gathered together to persuade him one by one, and it was not formal enough to hang a banner. "Okay, I was wrong." Monica immediately admitted her mistake. "Sit down." Ross couldn't pretend to be gentle anymore. and drawled, "Okay, okay." Monica was startled and quickly raised her hands in surrender. She sat down obediently on the chair, looking at everyone looking down at her anxiously, helpless like a 100-pound child. The admonition meeting lasted for a long time. Monica kept admitting her mistakes like a repeater, until everyone felt that she really knew her mistakes and was not just perfunctory. It was already early in the morning. Chapter 192. Grand plans and hegemony turn into failure. Las Vegas. Early morning. After the admonition and criticism meeting, Adam returned to his suite. He was still full of energy at this time. It can even be said that his energy exploded. So, he sneaked back to his room, wanting to have a late night of incest. However, there was no one in the bedroom. Adam was dumbfounded. What was going on? It was already early morning. Where could Heather be if not in the bedroom? Adam immediately had a guess, walked out of the bedroom, came to Juno's room, and listened. Sure enough, a burst of playful sounds came from inside, among which was Heather. Adam's mouth twitched, and he reached out and patted the door. "Who is it?" Juno's panicked voice sounded, as if she was caught cheating, but it was too exaggerated and not at all sincere. "Who else but me?" Adam complained. "This is not a New York apartment. How can you go in and out without a key?" In New York, Monica's apartment and Chandler's apartment are almost never locked, and you can just push the door to get in. Many things happen for this reason. For example, Joey runs over every day to get food. The most exaggerated thing is that when Monica and Chandler were trying to have a baby in the original time and space, they helped take care of Rachel and Ross's daughter Emma. After putting Emma in the living room, the two went directly into the bedroom to make a little man. Joey pushed the door in and heard the movement in the bedroom. He thought it was not suitable for children, so he took Emma away directly. When Monica and Chandler came out after the end, they were dumbfounded. In the end, there was naturally no danger. But imagine if it was not Joey, but any outsider, such as a delivery man, who pushed the door in and took Emma away. What would the result be? Adam was determined not to make such a mistake. "Is there something wrong?" The door was half opened, and Juno leaned against the door in a thin pajamas, blocking Adam's view, with an unnatural blush on her face. "What do you think?" Adam saw through Juno at a glance and rolled his eyes unhappily. "What do you say?" Juno laughed and said, "I say it's too late. We are going to bed, and we can talk about it tomorrow if there is anything." As she said that, she was about to close the door. Adam put his hand on them and said speechlessly, "You can sleep, but call Heather out. We have to sleep too." "She's tired and fell asleep," Juno said with a half smile, "and you should be very tired too, right? It's already this late. Go back to sleep, or do you want to come in and sleep with us?" Adam paused. He didn't understand that Juno was targeting him. But think about it, the three of them accompanied their parents and a few troublemakers for a whole night, but he was so engrossed in playing, even if it was for Chandler and Monica's matter later, it was really a bit unreasonable. "Okay, Juno, we'll talk tomorrow." Heather appeared behind Juno and opened the door. Useless traitor. Seeing this, Juno rolled her eyes at Heather, closed the door, and ignored Adam and the others. "The plastic sisterhood is really well deserved." "Thank you." Adam thanked him sincerely, both for Heather's initiative to accompany her family and for her support for him. Without waiting for Heather to answer, Adam reached out and hugged Heather, spinning around and carrying her back to the room. "Tell me, what were you doing just now?" Back in the bedroom, Adam threw Heather on the bed and bounced her a few times. His eyes sparkled with resonance, and he wanted to do it again. He stared at her with a fierce look and asked, "Haha." Heather just laughed foolishly. When Adam was about to make a move, Heather suddenly pushed Adam away and ran to the inner room. Adam realized that Heather had a purpose, so he naturally did not stop her. Otherwise Heather's strength would not be able to push him away, so he just pretended to chase her. Hiss. When he slowly chased to the inner room, he found that Heather had disappeared, and a majestic madam stood inside. What made him gasp was that there was a large cloakroom with a row of uniforms of various colors, not to mention the traditional maids, office ladies, sailors, etc. There were also suits of DC Wonder Woman, Catwoman, Marvel Black Widow and other classic female heroes and villains in anime. "I love America." Adam couldn't help but say it. using the unique tone that Rajesh used when he was facing the colonel of the U.S. Air Force. In the next suite, William Hever hugged the tall middle-aged woman, lying there in a daze, enjoying the rare tranquility, but Alice's figure kept appearing in his mind. He felt that he had met true love again, and this true love was far greater than any time before. He even had the illusion that she would be the biggest trouble in his life, if he couldn't get her. At this moment, he had a strong urge to find her, put everything aside, propose to her, and then live a happy and beautiful life with her. But he moved a little, but found that he couldn't move. The middle-aged woman, who was like a little bird, lay on his chest, pressing him so hard that he couldn't move, and a bitter smile appeared on her pale face. What was even more terrible was that a familiar piece of music suddenly sounded faintly next door. Then, the middle-aged woman with her eyes closed and smiling sat up with a start, and the light in her eyes made him palpitate. William he. The dollar was calling, and William could only force himself to stay alert and smile in response. Half an hour later, the music next door was still playing. William was coaxed by the middle-aged woman to go to the bathroom, took a blue bottle from the cupboard, poured out a small blue pill, looked at the pale and bloodless face in the mirror, gritted his teeth and put it in his mouth, and swallowed it with tap water. An hour later, when both of them fell asleep drowsily, the music next door paused for a while and started playing again. William the middle-aged woman dozed for a while and was woken up again. She wanted to get angry, but she thought of something. Her eyes lit up, and she was no longer sleepy. She pushed the sleeping William awake and started calling again in the same tone. William trembled, pretending to be dead without moving, hating the couple next door in his heart. He was really scared. He felt that he was really going to die. Medicine is 3-point poison. Even the blue bottle is not good. He really tried his best. Sure enough, it's hard to make money, or, forget it. What ideal, what ambition, compared with life? It's all bullshit. Why do you have to climb up and become a millionaire or a multimillionaire? Being a popular bartender, free and romantic, isn't it good? Or just take on a huge student loan. What's the big deal? Others can pay it back in their lifetime. Why can't he? At this moment, countless thoughts flashed through William's mind. He really wanted to kick the middle-aged woman who pushed him away and leave in style, but he didn't have the courage, and he didn't have a trace of strength. So he could only pretend to be dead, lying there, motionless. Away from the middle-aged woman's hand, he clutched the quilt tightly, as if grasping the last straw, and a cold tear slipped from the corner of his eye. P.S. Thanks to book friends 1407300273425, book friend 20181109191919166658. And false sunshine for the rewards. It is likely that there is no way today. The author will do his best. Chapter 193, Asking for Medicine, Las Vegas. Luxury Suite. William was lying there pretending to be dead. The rich woman pushed him a few times, but there was no response, so she couldn't help but curl her lips. Of course she knew William was pretending to be dead, but considering that William was really exhausted tonight, she didn't expose him. Few people who can become rich women are fools. Either their father is rich, their husband is rich, or they are rich. For people with ordinary looks, the possibility of being rich is the greatest, the possibility of having a rich father is the second, and the third is having a rich husband. Because if the husband is very rich, he will never marry an ugly wife. Once this is done, it can only mean that the woman is very special and has means. For example, in the original Time and Space, when Leonard was soliciting sponsorship for the California Institute of Physics, he met Teacher Ty, who was old enough to be Leonard's mother. Facing Leonard's reluctance, she asked directly, "How do you think I married a rich and deceased husband?" Leonard thought about it and immediately guessed that Teacher Ty had amazing means. After Teacher Ty gave a positive answer, Leonard suppressed his reluctance, shouted a line often used in Stephen Chow's movies, and rushed over. Let's die. The teacher didn't lie to Leonard. The next morning, Leonard returned to the apartment in disheveled and frivolous steps, leaning on the wall. It was obvious that he was too happy. Of course, it cannot be ruled out that after the teacher lied to him, she used huge sponsorship as a temptation to make Leonard break the jar. After all, There are only 0 times and countless times in the world. The rich woman William met also belongs to this kind of juicer teacher. When she was young, she married a rich husband by amazing means. Now the couple has long passed the novelty, so they play their own games. When she met William in the bar, she coveted William, a young man, and often teased him. But William was still very backbone at the time, just thinking about his own efforts. Then he encountered setbacks, and William followed his uncle's advice and prepared to go to medical school to be a doctor. Relying on the relationship with the female professor of Columbia University Medical School, he was successfully admitted. After learning about the high student loan that made people bow their heads, he couldn't resist it when he met this enthusiastic aunt in the bar. Of course, the harvest is also great. After this escort vacation, William had enough money to pay for 2 years of medical school. Seeing William's current attitude of pretending to be dead, the rich woman felt that it was understandable, but she also secretly made a note of it in her heart. That's right, deduct money, but she will give him another chance. Half an hour later, the sound of waves next door was still there. The rich woman had no choice but to pull William to another room. The next morning, "I want the magic medicine next door." As soon as the rich woman opened her eyes, she pushed William awake and said with burning eyes, "Go buy some back, or ask clearly what medicine it is, and I will buy it." William was in a bad mood. The blue little pill almost made him useless, and now he is thinking about the magic medicine next door again? Judging from the situation next door, he is definitely dead. But under the secret threat of the rich woman, in order not to waste the previous hard work, William still cheered up and got up, walked with the same slouch steps as Leonard, held the wall, came to the door next door, and rang the doorbell. It's already like this, so it doesn't matter if there is a last shutter. Ding dong. Who is it? Juno heard the noise and looked through the peephole. She was shocked even with her psychological quality. William's face was too pale at the moment. He didn't even need makeup to play a vampire. "Hello, my name is William. I live in the next suite. I want to ask you something," William said in a hoarse voice. "What's the matter?" Juno opened the door, looked at William straight in the eyes, and kindly reminded him, "Do you want to go to the hospital?" "I'm fine." William saw that it was a beautiful woman and habitually showed a charming smile, but when he thought of his purpose, his smile immediately froze there, and he hesitated. "Are you the only one living in this suite? The noise last night was a bit disturbing." He. Juno immediately understood what was going on and smiled. "Not only me, but also my friend. I think the noise you heard was made by him. Please sit down first, I'll go call him for you." As she said that, she quickly walked to Adam's bedroom and began to knock on the door. "Adam, Adam, someone is looking for you." "Who is it?" Adam's lazy voice came out. William's heart immediately skipped a beat. This voice sounded so familiar, and it was called Adam. No way, I can't be so unlucky. But if it was really that Adam, then the other person could be. Thinking of this, William's pale face immediately flushed. That was because he was angry. When Adam came out yawning, William confirmed his guess, and a word echoed in his mind: bastard. If he was just jealous in the past, then now he has some personal hatred, and even hates his former goddess Heather. You are having fun next door, but you almost killed him. And now, he has to come to ask for medicine and shame. God. He stood up and wanted to go out. "Hey, it's you." Adam obviously recognized William, and then he looked at him with a strange look. As soon as Alice appeared, William also ran from New York on the East Coast to Las Vegas on the West Coast. "Is it really a match made in heaven? Why are you here, and why did you come to see me? He lives next door, and you and Heather had a quarrel with him." Juno stood aside, gloating and providing a narration. "Oh, is that so? I'm really sorry." Adam suddenly realized and apologized immediately. William's face became worse. "If you apologize, then apologize. Can you dare to smile more clearly from the inside out? It's okay, just be careful next time." William forced a smile and turned away. He didn't want to stay any longer. Adam also knew that he was a little bit unkind, but he couldn't control the arc of his mouth. It was really that Heather was too awesome last night. This was definitely the most imaginative night in his past and present lives. The two-dimensional culture is indeed unique and charming. After this night, Adam felt that he would have the opportunity to go to the anime festival with Sheldon and others in the future. Only when the culture is diverse can it be more brilliant. William walked to the door and paused, but he thought of the rich woman's eagerness. He knew that if he didn't ask now, the rich woman might come to ask in person after he went back, which would be even more embarrassing. "Adam, you should take less medicine, it's not good for your health." William thought quickly and didn't ask directly, but said tactfully, "Take medicine." "What medicine?" Adam asked in surprise. "You didn't take medicine." William was shocked when he saw Adam's expression, which didn't look fake. "I never take medicine." Under Juno's playful eyes, Adam also reacted and smiled reservedly. "I don't need it." William was stunned, and felt that he had suffered 10,000 points of damage, and the whole person was even worse. P.S. There is more in the evening. Chapter 194 Eye-opening. In the corridor, it was only a few steps away, but William had difficulty walking. Damn it, he didn't even need to take medicine. Is he still a human being? William was extremely envious and jealous. Then he thought about what he should say when he returned. Tell the truth? I'm afraid he won't believe it. Even if he doesn't believe it. Yes, how is it possible? Adam must be bragging. William came back to his senses, thinking that he knew the truth, and was angry that he was almost fooled by Adam's big talk. "Honey, how is it?" In the luxury suite, the rich woman was enjoying the food. When she saw William come in, she immediately asked, "I didn't take any medicine at all." William laughed. "Impossible." The rich woman flatly denied, "No one can be that strong." She obviously hadn't read Marvel comics and didn't know Captain America's famous sayings. She hadn't seen Howard in The Big Bang Theory, who boasted "I can do it all night every day" and printed such a shameful abbreviation on his t-shirt. Then, in a fit of excitement, she tore open her t-shirt in public, exposing her thin upper body, and threw the torn t-shirt wildly, kneeling on the ground, and roaring to the sky. In her mind, the strongest thing is medicine, not people. Of course no one is that strong, William quickly agreed. The key is that the people next door are not just one person. They are a group of people. You mean? The rich woman's eyes lit up. Yes. William's mind flashed through the figures of Juno and Karen, who flashed by, and he put them into the scene. The truth came out at once, and gave a positive answer to the rich woman's guess. "Can we participate?" The rich woman didn't stop until she said something shocking. William was shocked, looked at the ordinary rich woman, and thought of Heather, Juno and Karen, and his heart was moved, thinking that if he could participate, he would make a lot of money. But then he thought that this was impossible, and he didn't want to appear in front of Adam again, especially with the rich woman. So he could only shake his head and say, "No, they are an internal party." "Is that so?" The rich woman felt sorry, but then she forgot about it. Since there is no magic medicine, it is not worth paying attention to. Such parties are not only held next door. She has participated in more eye-opening parties. William was relieved, but at the same time a little disappointed. If the rich woman insisted a little longer, or used some means, if she could impress Adam and the others, how great it would be. Next door, Adam naturally didn't know that William had started to fantasize and think about good things. "Juno, you are at Harvard. Have you heard of the legend of eating chicken at MIT?" He stretched lazily and said casually. "Of course." Juno smiled and said, "One of them applied for the Robinson Scholarship at Harvard Medical School and beat the other 74 applicants of the same period and successfully won a scholarship worth $300,000. Of course I have heard his story. In order to ensure the status and income of doctors, the United States strictly controls the number of new medical school students. There are about 20,000 quotas each year, which are allocated to 143 medical schools in the United States that can grant doctoral degrees. Larger state public medical schools have 200 to 300 quotas. Top private medical schools such as Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Stanford, Columbia, etc., only have about 100 new students each year. This fall, Juno's classmates are only 75, including Juno. With such a small circle and such great interests, news is naturally flying everywhere, and even all the details of the interview were exposed. "Oh, he is also a student of this year like you?" Adam said in surprise. "Yeah." Juno smiled and said, This person is called Ben Campbell. He is an absolute genius. He is a pre-med school student with a GPA of 4.0 out of 4.0, NCOT score of 44 out of 45, the leader of the National Mathematics Elite League, and has been teaching assistant to two famous professors. He has letters of recommendation from them. His resume is very impressive. That alone won't impress the recruiters, right? Adam shook his head. Not bad. Juno nodded and said, his resume is indeed impressive, but it is not dazzling among Harvard's previous students. Even though he said that his dream since childhood is to study at Harvard Medical School, the recruiting staff was unmoved and asked him to provide a more dazzling life experience, preferably like the protagonist in the book, to impress everyone. Then he told the story of his group counting cards in Las Vegas. Adam couldn't help laughing. He finally remembered the general plot of the movie called Blackjack. This man named Ben Campbell was studying at MIT. In his senior year, he was preparing to apply for Harvard Medical School, but he was worried about the 4-year fee of up to $300,000, tuition and living expenses. Then, because of his strong mathematical talent, he was spotted by a mathematics professor and joined a secret card counting group. He quickly mastered this skill, surpassed his teacher, and became the backbone of the team. He formed a team with other members and went to Las Vegas 17 times. In just a few months, he won hundreds of thousands of US dollars, personal gains, plus other team members and professors. The total amount is no less than 10 million. During this period, because of a conflict with the professor only remotely commanded the logistics but directly asked for half of the profits. The money he won was stolen by the professor, and he was caught and beaten by the casino. He confronted the professor, but the professor threatened him with his grades to give in, because once the professor gave him a low score, his GPA would not be able to reach 4.0, and he might be directly rejected when applying for the exam, and the money would be useless. With nowhere else to go, he chose to cooperate with the casino regulators and designed to trick the professor into making a big retirement fortune before the casino's new system went online. For safety reasons, they had won money in batches and in fixed amounts before, and this last time they planned to take the risk of being exposed and make a lot of money. The regulators and the professor are old rivals, and have always wanted to catch the professor. But they didn't expect the professor to stop and go from the front stage to the backstage without a chance. This time, on the one hand, he was ready to take revenge, and on the other hand, he was ready to make a lot of money to retire, because they were about to be replaced by the computer system and become unemployed. The professor was fooled, and in the end, he was taken away by the regulators with a large amount of gambling money, and his life or death was unknown. Ben Campbell gained dazzling experience and love, and he was definitely the male protagonist in the book. Isn't this illegal? Adam asked curiously. Is it illegal? Juno laughed and said, what are you talking about? Card counting is not illegal, and he was robbed twice. Adam was stunned. After listening to Juno's version of the story, he realized that Ben Campbell had directly deleted the plot of him and the regulators working together to set up the trap. In this story, he yielded to the professor and sincerely prepared to make a big deal with the professor, and the two reconciled. Because he didn't want so much money, as long as it was enough for him to go to Harvard Medical School, it didn't conflict with the professor's purpose. It was just unfortunate that they were robbed again. They are all drama queens. Adam sighed. Haha. Juno laughed. After listening to his story, the recruitment staff were dumbfounded, and then he asked the other party, is this experience dazzling? Is it like the male protagonist in the book? Adam shook his head. This is the mixed world of American TV series and movies. Otherwise Ben would definitely be questioned by the police. A famous MIT professor disappeared without a trace because he went to count cards and gamble with his students. But the students were all safe and sound, and Ben had a conflict of interest with the professor. Even if these loopholes cannot convict Ben, who is under suspicion, will not be able to imagine a scholarship of up to $300,000, and it is not certain whether he will be disqualified from Harvard Medical School. Dare to act so arrogantly with the recruitment staff. Chapter 195 The Dark Side. Las Vegas. Luxury Suite. This is a powerful character, You have to be careful, Adam warned. I know, Juno smiled, but it's okay. Adam was stunned, and then his mouth twitched. He almost forgot that although Ben Campbell was very scheming and once risked crime for his future, no matter what, how could he compare with the one in front of him? It was completely a case of showing off one's skills in front of an expert, a small witch meeting a big witch. The two chatted for a while, and then Adam went into the house with a plate. Heather was so awesome last night, and Adam planned to spend a good day with her. Well, nothing. At nightfall, Adam came to Chandler's suite and winked at Chandler. Chandler returned a look of waiting. So Adam focused his attention on Monica and smiled. How do you feel? I was wrong. I won't gamble anymore, Monica shouted reflexively. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed in unison. It seems that the admonition meeting last night was quite successful. Adam was happy. Monica's gambling addiction comes from her competitive spirit and obsessive-compulsive disorder caused by cleanliness. Ross, who belongs to the same competitive Geller family as her, has a much smaller gambling addiction because he does not have obsessive-compulsive disorder and is particularly careful about money. Even if he is unrecognizable once he sits on the gambling table, he can stop at the right time. For example, in the original Time and Space, the three girls in the six-person group were angry that the boys did not take them to play poker, thinking that they discriminated against them, so they started gambling. After the first failure, they specially invited gambling masters to teach them, but they still lost the second time. During this process, Ross behaved extremely mean, asking for money as soon as he stretched out his hand, and even refused to sell the face of goddess Rachel, and all kinds of ridicule came out of his mouth. But when Rachel learned that the application failed and was extremely depressed, Ross immediately admitted defeat. What if it was Monica? She could win the game but still deliberately admitted defeat? Don't be kidding. She would only win the bet first, and then do her best to comfort Rachel. It is impossible to admit defeat, and it is impossible to admit defeat in this life. Just as Monica said to Chandler in the original Time and Space, "Sir, if you marry me, you will never have a chance to win again." However, unlike the gambler who is hated by everyone, Monica values feelings more, and can restrain her gambling addiction, or obsessive-compulsive disorder, for the sake of feelings. For example, in the original Time and Space, in order to take Rachel to see an eye doctor, she was able to resist the strong urge to clean up immediately when Rachel threw miscellaneous items and made a mess in the apartment, and still took Rachel to see an eye doctor. Of course, she still ordered Chandler to clean up immediately, but even if there is no Chandler as a boyfriend to order around, Adam believes that between taking a friend to see a doctor and obsessive-compulsive disorder, Monica will still choose her friend. And this is the fact. Once Adam and his friends started this persuasion meeting, the effect was extremely obvious. Anyone can see that Monica is having a hard time enduring, but she is really enduring. "I hate Las Vegas," Monica shouted. "Rachel, what's wrong with you? Are you still angry with Ross?" Adam set his eyes on Rachel again. "I don't have time to be angry with him," Rachel said insincerely. "What's going on?" Adam smiled and said, "Rose is not here. We can criticize him together." "I don't know either," Rachel said distressedly. "I always feel that Ross doesn't care about me as much as before. You see, he always roars at me. If it were before, can you imagine it?" Haha. Adam laughed. "That's it? Of course it's more than that." Rachel got excited and broke the news. "You know, what I can't stand the most is that he actually counts every time he does something indescribable. I occasionally heard it before coming to Las Vegas. I pressed him and he didn't admit it." What? Monica didn't have time to resist her gambling addiction and was directly shocked by Rachel's big news. 298 times. Rachel covered her forehead and said, "Only a loser would count this." "OMG tilde," Monica exclaimed, covering her ears and shouting, "I can't listen to this, and I don't want to listen to this." Then she quickly left. "So, what do you think now?" Adam smiled and didn't comment. It has to be said that women's intuition is very accurate. Before and after falling in love, Ross is completely two different people. Before falling in love, he was caring and gentle. After falling in love, it was the same at the beginning, but after a while, Ross began to transform into a roaring leader. It was not without reason that the Prehistoric Biology Museum where he worked finally fired him for having violent temper. The reason for such a change is perfectly explained by the number 298. Just as Sheldon analyzed whether Penny was a slut, he used the most foolproof and irrefutable mathematics. It is completely appropriate to apply it to Ross and Rachel. First of all, Ross and Rachel have been officially in love for almost a year, even if it is 365 days, and they delayed a lot of time in the early stage because of various opportunities, and finally succeeded, -5 days. Then we have to deduct the monthly menstrual period, 7 days 12 equals 84 days, illness, going home, vacation, things to do, and not in a good mood, etc. 7 days 12 equals 84 days per month. That is, 365 5 84 84 equals 192 days 298 192 1.6 times. Day 298 52 equals 5.7 times / week 6 times. Week. In other words, Ross almost only gives Rachel 1 day to rest every week, deducting the days when he can't, and when he has time, he will output 1.6 times a day. Normal couples usually have sex 2 or 3 times a week, and only 100 to 150 times a year. When the two are compared, it is completely a blessing. 996. In this case, even if Ross treated Rachel as a goddess before, his attitude must be different now after a year. After all, just like money, when the amount reaches a certain level, it is just a number, and he is not very interested in money itself. Furthermore, Ross not only had a crazy admiration for Rachel, but also turned his love into hatred. In high school, he and Rachel's ex-husband, Little Pie, formed an alliance called I Hate Rachel. The initiator was Ross. Little Pie's various lines against Rachel were also said by Ross. Losers like Leonard and Howard seem to have no idea how many times they have done unspeakable things with their girlfriends. Ross's behavior makes it hard not to think that he has a problem with his mentality. Take advantage of the opportunity to output like crazy, in case the opportunity is suddenly lost and he regrets it, and it is precisely because of this overly crazy output that he has reached the 7-year itch in advance. It's terrifying to think about it carefully. Of course, Adam will never say these analyses, otherwise Ross will probably really turn against him. Phoebe has an ex-boyfriend who is a psychologist. He can make others speechless and angry. No one likes this kind of person. Everyone has some dark sides that they don't want to be known. Ross is naturally no exception. This does not deny that he is a very good friend. After all, many dark sides are hidden so deeply that even they themselves don't know. And Adam has no right to criticize him. P.S. Thanks to the 10 hermits and Lou Tofu is very hard for the rewards. Chapter 196. A new chapter. Las Vegas. Luxury suite. Don't you have anything to say? Seeing Adam just smiling without saying anything, Rachel couldn't help but said, a little unhappy, I think you should have a good talk with Ross. Adam pondered. Is there something wrong with his mentality? There is a problem with his mentality, Rachel complained. Of course he has a problem with his mentality. Who cares about this? Okay, you've stumped me. Adam didn't dare to say more and could only raise his hands and surrender. Oh, Rachel said, a little crazy. I knew it was useless to tell you earlier. You got a bachelor's degree in psychology. Didn't you also study psychology? Adam was speechless. I changed my major because the psychology teaching building is easier to park. Rachel shouted confidently. Can it be the same? Adam's mouth twitched, first extended his left thumb, then extended his right thumb, and finally clapped his hands, raised his thumbs with both hands, and had a classic expression of I surrender. Rachel shook her long hair fiercely and walked away unhappy. Chandler and Susie also agreed and came out of the room. She's not going? Adam asked curiously. No, Chandler shook his head. The fewer people there are, the better. It will save us from embarrassment. I think she should go, Adam joked. It will save us from misunderstandings and make us even more embarrassed. That's perfect. Chandler's ridicule came out of his mouth. I also want to see whether he will support me or oppose me at that time. It's useless. Adam smiled and said, you forgot that we don't have that Torah. Chandler was influenced by his father Helena since he was a child. In the eyes of normal people, He has a strong gay flavor, of course. The concentration is not as strong as Rajesh, but it is also easy to be misunderstood. For example, when he was working in an IT company before, a female colleague was ready to match him with another male colleague. When she learned that he was not gay, she was shocked. Then Chandler wanted to explain to the male colleague who was matched that he was not gay. Who knows that gay male colleague? Of course, he knows, because people like them all have a kind of radar that can tell at a glance whether others are of the same kind. And although Chandler looks similar, he doesn't really have that kind of temperament. Chandler's father Helena, as a senior gay, must have a sharper eye. No one can fool him. The two chatted and laughed for a while, then got up and went to the small theater. But they didn't call Susie after all. Small theater. Helena came on stage on time. Her eyes swept across the audience, and when she saw Chandler sitting next to Adam, her eyes froze, and the tenderness in her eyes almost melted Chandler. After a brief opening speech, Helena started to join the show again. "Where are you from?" This time, Helena didn't find Chandler first, but started along the edge and pointed the microphone at a guest. "Bakersfield." The guest replied. "Sorry?" Helena pretended not to hear. "Bakersfield." The guest repeated. "Oh, I heard it. I just said I'm sorry." Helena teased seriously. "Haha." The whole audience burst into laughter. "Your humor is obviously inherited from your father." Adam sighed. "Fortunately, I only inherited this bit of humor." Chandler habitually laughed at himself. Helena greeted the guests one by one, and made a few humorous jokes from time to time, quite like a talk show, and finally came to Adam and the others. "So, what's your name?" Helena handed the microphone to Chandler. "Chandler." Chandler responded in a low voice. "Chandler, what a unique name." Helena said seriously. "Your parents must be very outstanding. I don't know how others evaluate them, but they must think so themselves." Chandler complained. "It doesn't matter how others evaluate them." Helena smiled. "What do you think of them?" "They are very humorous," Chandler said seriously. "They actually think they are very outstanding." The smile on Helena's face froze, and she walked past Adam and the others, forcing a smile and continuing to greet other guests. "What are you doing?" Adam pushed Chandler and whispered, "Don't forget the purpose of coming here tonight." "I know. I know." Chandler looked at his father's back as he left with a forced smile, feeling frustrated and regretful. "I didn't mean to scold him. I just couldn't control my mouth at all." Adam rolled his eyes. He was used to complaining and couldn't stop at all. If he were in a certain world, Chandler would definitely blow up the earth because his complaining energy was too strong and out of control. He was definitely a mouth that destroyed the world. Of course, in this world, for Helena, Chandler's complaints were no less powerful than the explosion of the earth. "Clap more and talk less later. Talk after the performance," Adam suggested. "Okay." Chandler nodded quickly. Sometimes, he also hated his mouth, because many times, others did not appreciate his humor, but thought that his jokes were too cold and awkward, and looked at him as if he was a fool. Papa. Applauding is much easier, concise and clear, without ambiguity. As expected, when Helena saw Chandler applauding, she glowed again. The performance was over. Adam took Chandler backstage. Both of them wanted to reconcile. Under Adam's guidance, Chandler, who did not abuse humor, successfully opened his heart to his father. Helena expressed her apology, and Chandler chose to forgive and forgive. As expected, Helena did go to New York every year in the past few years. She looked at Chandler from a distance and was very pleased to see him happily with his friends. She also stopped thinking about disturbing him in the past. "You will be a good father." Helena looked at Chandler and sighed. "Parents who are countless times better than us." "I think I will." Chandler smiled and responded to the compliment, just as Helena said seriously before that Chandler's parents were the best. Adam's heart moved and he secretly made a plan. The 2 days of the weekend passed quickly. Dad and Mom dragged Eddie and Gabby, who were reluctant to leave, back home. Monica couldn't wait to leave this sad place. Ross, Phoebe, Rachel and Susie were traveling with her. Chandler and Joey drove Phoebe's grandmother's taxi and took turns driving back to New York. Adam, Juno and the other two had a good time in Las Vegas for a few days. Then they flew to Los Angeles and visited the famous Hollywood and the equally famous San Fernando Valley. After that, Hawaii, Yellowstone Park, Niagara Falls. Adam and the other three visited all the scenic spots in the United States. The long summer vacation ended quietly. A new chapter is about to begin. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197 School Starts, 1995. Fall. Columbia University Medical School officially begins. 5 o'clock in the morning. Knock, knock. Chandler. Knock, knock. Chandler. Knock, knock. Chandler, wake up. Adam, dressed for running, knocked on Chandler's door in Sheldon's classic 3 knocks. OMG, Chandler wailed inside. Isn't school starting today? Why are you here? Please forgive me. Starting school and taking you running are not contradictory. Adam smiled and said, Is Susie here? I'm coming in. She's here. Don't come in, Chandler shouted. Don't be silly. Adam opened the door and walked in, smiling at Chandler lying on the bed. If you can be more sincere and imitate her voice, I will believe it a little more. I don't want to run. Chandler hugged the quilt tightly and raised his head to shout at Adam. I know. Adam smiled. You know? Chandler shouted. You don't know at all. Otherwise you wouldn't have pulled me up to run every day. God, it's only 5 o'clock now. I've graduated for so many years, and you still let me get up early to run? Did you get up early to run when you were in school? Adam asked back. Don't. Chandler paused. He didn't run a fart. This was just a cliché. What are you arguing about? Joey rubbed his eyes and came over from the next door, complaining. Can't you let people sleep so early in the morning? Look, look, Joey was woken up by you. Are you satisfied? Chandler couldn't argue with Adam, so he wanted to unite the two. I was woken up by you, Joey said honestly. Don't forget that it was you who asked me to take you running, Adam reminded with a smile. Nonsense, Chandler said indignantly. When did I ask you to take me running? I just asked you to tell me. At this point, he couldn't continue because the content was a bit embarrassing. How to do it all night. Joey suddenly stopped being sleepy when he heard this. He pointed his finger at Chandler and nodded, pursing his lips. Huh? Adam's method is not suitable for you. Listen to Joey. You have to eat more and fight more, so that you can become a real man. Yes, yes. Chandler's eyes lit up and he shouted, I won't run away. I want to learn from Joey. Don't talk nonsense. Adam laughed. Joey is a natural talent. If you eat more and fight more, you will either become fat or skinny. It's useless. Besides, we have agreed that you can't give up halfway. As he said that, he stretched out his hand and lifted Chandler up. Wow! Joey spread his hands and exclaimed, Chandler, you should exercise with Adam. This strength is really amazing. It makes me want to exercise with you guys. Then come on, Chandler complained. Hey, I just said a little bit. Just a little bit. Joey's thumb and index finger were almost touching each other, indicating that it was really just a little bit. Pack up and get ready to go. Adam lifted and put down, and juggled Chandler with one hand in the air above the bed. After a few times, Chandler was completely sleepless, so he had no choice but to change into a running suit and follow Adam out. Take Chandler out for a run again? Monica opened the door in the corridor and couldn't help laughing when she saw this scene. Yes, you can also join, Adam bewitched. Otherwise, you probably won't be able to run faster than Chandler. Are you kidding? Monica pointed at Chandler and said contemptuously. When she took Chandler running, Chandler was able to take a taxi and escape halfway. How could such a loser be better than her? She went from a child weighing more than 200 pounds to a beautiful woman with a good figure today. In addition to strict dieting, she relied on crazy exercise. It turned out that at home, her room was full of fitness equipment. Did she really think it was just for decoration? Hey, Chandler mocked. I'm right here. Do you have to point at my nose and say that? It's him, Adam affirmed. I plan to keep training him. If you fall behind, you may not be able to match him at that time. So do you want to join us? Okay. Monica got excited when she heard this. Wait a minute. I'll be there soon. With that, She ran back to the bedroom to change clothes. "I'll let Monica supervise you when I have something to do in the future," Adam kindly reminded. "Oh, come on," Chandler wailed. "You're too cruel, aren't you? I really regret asking you for experience." Haha. Adam smiled but said nothing, thinking, "Do you really think you asked? Silly boy, that's what I want you to ask. If you don't ask, how can I make you agree to accept my professional guidance, and then use it to force you to run and exercise?" The method is actually very simple. Just reveal a little bit of Adam's own experience. As long as he is a man, there is no man who won't be moved, and naturally he will ask for the secret. Just like the CD tied with a bow that Kinyumo left for Huyai and Tangnoiu. It looks suspicious at first glance. People who see it will naturally watch it at the first time. Of course, the content is not verifiable because the data is lost. As for why it is designed like this, it starts from when Chandler reconciled with his father. When Helen lamented that Chandler would definitely be a good father, Adam suddenly thought that Chandler might be a good father, but he couldn't be a good father because Chandler's health is not good. The vitality of gold is too poor, and he met Monica who has some problems. The chance of them having children is too low, so they finally adopted a pair of twins, and Monica really wants to get pregnant and give birth to their own children. So much so that Chandler once had the idea of borrowing someone else's gold to cooperate with Monica, and invited a male colleague he thought was the most handsome and outstanding to visit. The couple asked a private and embarrassing question, which scared the male colleague so much that he didn't dare to approach Chandler in the end. After this, although Chandler was active enough, Monica gave up the idea of getting pregnant, because she wanted her and Chandler's biological child, not her and someone else's. Instead of that, it would be better to adopt directly. But even if they did adopt a pair of twins later, Adam felt that they still felt quite regretful. Although the father is not necessarily the father can also be the father, or the father and the father overlap, which is the most perfect state. But Chandler started smoking at the age of 9, did not exercise, and had an irregular work and rest schedule, which unknowingly caused such a serious regret. Everyone didn't know at the moment, but Adam knew. As Chandler's good friend, Adam would naturally not sit idly by and watch this happen. That's why Chandler was curious about why Adam was so strong and wanted Adam to teach him. After agreeing to listen to Adam, Adam dragged the regretful Chandler for a morning run every day. Alas, for the future happiness of his good friend, Adam really broke his heart. But it's all worth it. Thinking of this, looking at Chandler, Adam showed a familiar smile. Chapter 198 Classmates. New York, Central Park. A group of 3 people were running side by side in the park. Adam was on the left, Monica was on the right, and Chandler was panting in the middle. This time, with Adam there, Chandler had no chance to sneak away. After running for a full 30 minutes, the 3 of them went back. Monica made breakfast, and Adam and Chandler ate it. "Let's continue tomorrow." "No." After breakfast, amid Chandler's wailing, Adam was in a good mood and took the breakfast that Monica prepared for Heather and left. Today was the first day of the medical school, and he had to go back to prepare. He first sent breakfast to the bedside, played with Heather for a while, and when she finished, the two went to the bathroom to take a bath for an hour, and had a deep discussion with her about why she was so cool and not controlled by gravity. They stopped until the water in the bathtub almost flooded the bathroom. Adam cleaned up, threw the mess to Heather, dressed himself, went downstairs and drove to Columbia University Medical School. A majestic white building is located here. It is supported by tall round pillars. The whole gives people a solemn feeling. Juno showed Adam a photo of Harvard Medical School, which is similar to this one. "Hi, Adam." Just as Adam was looking at the place where he would study for the next 4 years, a surprised female voice sounded in his ear. "Hi, Iliad." Adam turned around and responded with a smile. The girl was Iliad Reed, who was born in a medical family and whose grandfather, father, and brother were all doctors, whom he met at the party before. Attracted by Adam's appearance, she pretended to be Adam's fan, but was seen through by Adam, who used several plots in The Lord of Mysteries to scare her away. After returning home, Iliad bought The Lord of Mysteries and found out that the golden retriever named Susie was not a heroine at all, and was not as heavy as she imagined. Only then did she realize that she was teased by Adam, and she was ashamed and angry, but also secretly happy. He is handsome and interesting, just perfect. She had already inquired from various channels and knew that Adam was her classmate. So she was particularly concerned about meeting him today and dressed up carefully. Unexpectedly, she met Adam as soon as she came. You can imagine how surprised she was. "It seems that we will be classmates in the future," Elliot said happily. "It's great to have an acquaintance like you among the 108 medical freshmen this year." 108 freshmen. Adam couldn't help but laugh. This number is interesting. Yes, Elliot showed his strength as a medical family, and he was very well informed. This year, there were 2,638 people who applied for Columbia University Medical School, and only 108 were admitted, with an admission rate of less than 4.1%. "Are we in the same class?" Adam smiled. "All freshmen take large classes together," Iliad introduced. "It's like this for freshmen and sophomores, and juniors and seniors rotate in various hospitals. Of course, freshman anatomy and sophomores pathology will be divided into groups in addition to the large classes together, so that it is convenient to study." "Can we be in the same group at that time?" "Okay." Adam naturally would not refuse. With a know-it-all like her who likes him, many things will be much easier. "Look, it's Stephen Murphy. He's here too." Iliad's sharp eyes reminded him with a pout. Adam followed her prompt and looked over, and saw a stretched Cadillac parked in the square. The Murphy family, who he saw at the last party, walked out from the back seat of the car. Mrs. Murphy took her son's hand and gave him a good explanation. Only then did she get in the car and leave at her husband's urging. Young Stephen Murphy walked towards the teaching building, glimpsed Adam and Iliad looking at him, and nodded with a smile. Adam and Iliad also smiled and nodded in response. When he walked in, Iliad smiled and said, "You are worthy of being a member of the Murphy family. You are so generous." Haha. Adam smiled but said nothing. Sometimes the more gentlemanly and aristocratic a person looks, the wilder he is inside. The memory of his previous life told him that gentleman is not a compliment, because the West originally advocated the logic of the robbers who prey on the weak, and the gentleman was just a layer of camouflage, and it did not involve the inner cultivation. When you touch his inner self and have a conflict of interest with him, that layer of skin will be torn off by him without hesitation, as terrifying as a painted skin. This scene was played out repeatedly in the year when Adam traveled through time, and it scared many people who had a great favor for the United States and felt that the air in the United States was so sweet that they could not even deceive their own psychology, let alone deceive the people with sharp eyes. The screen was full of tears. The two walked side by side into the teaching building. When he saw a tall figure, Adam couldn't help but exclaimed. Iliad followed Adam's gaze and his mouth corners tilted, a little unhappy, because in the field of vision, there was a big beauty with long legs, the kind that made her feel ashamed. "You are so beautiful, why don't you go to Hollywood to develop your career, and come to study medicine?" Iliad muttered in a low voice, "Aren't you tired?" The long-legged beauty noticed that someone was watching her, glanced over here, and when she saw Adam, her body stiffened. Adam smiled and nodded to her. The long-legged beauty responded stiffly. "Do you know her?" Iliad immediately noticed the two people's movements. "Yes. Her name is Alice. I have seen her before." Adam smiled. "Ex-girlfriend, or?" Iliad gossiped. "Neither." Adam shook his head. "It's just a simple acquaintance." He didn't say a word about how he met Alice. They were all classmates, and it would be too hurtful to talk about such things. Adam is not Sheldon, who can't keep secrets at all, so he naturally won't say anything. Besides, she earned money to go to medical school instead of spending all kinds of luxurious expenses, which shows that she has goals and ideals and is willing to work hard for them. For such a person, although Adam doesn't think her method is appropriate, he won't despise her. In the United States, this is a common phenomenon. It is more of an educational system problem. That is, the tuition is too damn expensive, forcing young and beautiful girls to commit themselves to this kind of thing. In How I Met Your Mother, the prodigal son Barney's favorite thing is to go to the club to collect donations for the girls who can't afford the tuition and dance there. Although it looks like a joke, maybe Barney really thinks so in his heart. Or, in other words, He really thinks so. Similar is recognizing a sugar daddy. For rich people, this is a kind of enjoyment and charity. So this kind of ugly behavior that is almost semi-public has not been hit at all, and even public opinion is very tolerant. It has a very democratic and free flavor. When Adam and Alice looked at each other, a handsome short young man walked out of the middle aisle, which made Adam grin. Is this studying medicine or filming an idol drama? P.S. Thank you Lou Dufu for the reward. Chapter 199 Lesson 1 Lecture Hall. The 1995 freshmen of Columbia University Medical School gathered together. Too exaggerated. Aliad sat next to Adam, looked at the other students, and whispered to Adam, "There are too many handsome men and beautiful women in our class." Adam looked around and nodded in agreement. Among the handsome men, there are several handsome men, not to mention Adam and William. Among the beautiful women, there are many beautiful women, not to mention Alice. You know, this is not a talent show, but a report of freshmen in the medical school. Anyone who can come in and is willing to come in has high IQ and perseverance. Although appearance and IQ are not completely inversely proportional, they are both scarce resources among the public, and the overlap has never been high. Now this situation is obviously very unscientific. It is indeed worthy of being a comprehensive world of American TV series and movies. No matter what industry, appearance is the most important, and professional workplace dramas can be made into idol dramas. Fortunately there is no Dr. Derek Lamary, a doctor played by Joey in the soap opera. Adam complained wildly in his heart. If a classmate with the same face as Joey appeared, he would really go crazy. Do you know that handsome guy? Iliad nudged Adam with his shoulder and gossiped. Is there a handsome guy and beautiful girl club? How come you know them all? Coincidence. Adam laughed. If there is such a club, you would know them, right? He. Iliad heard Adam praise her like this, and immediately pushed Adam with embarrassment and joy. Don't say that. I'm not a beauty, no way. Adam pretended to be surprised and said, in all these years, no one has praised you for your beauty? Yes, there are. Iliad blushed and whispered. There was a sentence that was not said, that is, they are not as handsome as you, and the effect of praise is completely different. When the two were talking and laughing, two pairs of eyes fell on them. Alice felt mixed emotions. Who would have thought that the target who failed to invite in Las Vegas would be her classmate? Oh my God, this is too cruel. If people knew that she had a part-time job, how would others see her? In American TV dramas, there are all kinds of female fist warnings, as if it is really a paradise for women, but the fact is just the opposite. Shu Renju once said, the more you lack something, the more you promote it. The desperate housewives in the United States are famous all over the world. Without a sufficient number of full-time housewives, there will not be such a level of desperate housewives. In fact, after getting married, there are not too many American women who choose to give up their jobs and return to their families to be full-time housewives. American women are naturally discriminated against in the workplace. That's why they are so sensitive to discrimination. There is a market only when there is demand. Aren't the mainstream audience of TV dramas full-time housewives who stay at home every day? In reality, they are discriminated against. When they see all kinds of female fist warnings in TV dramas, the sense of refreshment is no less than reading the pretentious face slapping of Zia Baywin. Doctors are a very professional profession. Patients' trust in doctors is very important. Otherwise they can change doctors. Once Alice's part-time job was exposed, she would be ridiculed and despised by other classmates. What was even more terrible was that this kind of ridicule and contempt would even spread to the hospital and to the patients along with her classmates. After all, in a busy hospital, gossip and scandals are the best seasoning, and the speed and scope of their spread are incredible. Adam vaguely remembered that there was a blonde female doctor with a bright and cruel face. In order to repay her student loan in advance, after graduating with a doctorate in medicine, she took a photo album of the doctor series for a very famous professional magazine like Playboy as a real doctor, and then she was ridiculed in various ways. When she was a resident doctor, Sexy and attractive photos were posted in the dressing room and everywhere in the hospital. Then there were patients who didn't want her to get close to them and didn't let her participate in the operation because he had seen these photos and used them. Every time he saw her, he didn't see a professional doctor, but a sexy doctor. Although Alice didn't know this example, as a woman who could rely on her face but wanted to rely on her talent to make a living, she had encountered too many such things since she was a child. If it were any other man, she would have been very confident in convincing him to keep it a secret, but she couldn't see through Adam. Until now, she still couldn't figure out why Adam would reject her in that way, especially when she saw that Adam made Elliot blush and laugh with just a few words. The only reason she could think of, that Adam was not a man, seemed untenable. Damn it, what should she do? When Alice was struggling and going crazy, William also had mixed feelings. He was happy that he met his true love again here, which made him believe that Alice was his true love. What was unpleasant was that his true love didn't look at him, but at Adam, whom he hated. As soon as he saw Adam, he couldn't help but touch his waist. It was because of Adam and Heather that his waist was almost broken. The trip to Las Vegas was definitely the most terrible nightmare trip in his life. While the freshmen were looking at each other and chatting, they finally waited for the dean and a group of professors to come in. After a welcome speech, they got to the main topic of the day. That was the first lesson for medical students, taking the oath under the lead of the dean. I solemnly swear 108. I will dedicate my life to the service of humanity. I will dedicate my life to the service of humanity. 108. I will give my teachers due respect and gratitude. I will give my teachers due respect and gratitude. 108. I will practice medicine and save lives according to my conscience and dignity, and the health of patients will be my primary concern. I will respect the privacy of all patients, even after the patient's death. I will do my best to uphold the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession and regard my colleagues as my brothers and sisters. I will not allow prejudices such as age, illness or disability, religion, ethnicity, gender, race, political views, nationality, sexual orientation, social status or any other factors to come between my duties and patients. I will give the greatest respect to human life, even under threat. I will not use my medical knowledge to endanger human rights and justice. I solemnly and voluntarily swear on my personality. The dean recited a sentence, and Adam and others followed. The freshmen had already memorized this oath in advance, so even if there was a long paragraph at the end, everyone had no problem at all. This is the improved oath of the United States. Before that, there was the classic Hippocratic oath. Hippocrates, a Greek, is revered as the father of medicine in the West, and there is a statue of him in almost every medical school. His oath is an industry ethics initiative issued to the medical community, and it is also a requirement for all professionals in the whole society to be self-disciplined in their words and deeds. So there is such a first lesson. Chapter 200 F5 Group, Columbia University Medical School. After taking the oath, the freshmen of 1995 officially entered their medical studies. The most important thing for freshmen is to understand the human body. Without a clear understanding of the structure of the human body, it is impossible to talk about modern medicine. Therefore, anatomy is the focus. Of course, before actually entering the anatomy room, you need to learn the theory first. The professor used pictures on the podium to show the various structures and tissues of the human body, and explained their respective functions and characteristics. Everyone listened attentively, including Adam. Even though he had prepared for this for 3 years in advance and had already read and memorized the relevant books, Adam was not complacent and always focused. Reading by yourself and the teacher's explanation are two different concepts. Because the professors in this top medical school never teach according to the book step by step, he will assume that the students have prepared in advance, and then diverge from the knowledge points in the book, and use his deep understanding of medicine for so many years to expand with examples. These are not in the books. Or even if they are in the books, as a student, you don't know which book it is written in. There are so many medical books, and new books are published every year. Even experienced attending physicians and department heads sometimes have to flip through books to solve problems. Being a doctor is a lifelong learning profession, and it is no joke. Therefore, The professor's serial explanations require students to preview a large number of professional books in advance in order to understand them thoroughly. Of course, professors usually give a list of books in advance, which lists the content that will be covered in his next class. If you don't preview in advance, you may not understand, and not understanding is definitely a very dangerous signal. Not every medical student can graduate, and many drop out or are expelled. In order to keep up with the progress, students need to bury their heads in the library, read a large number of professional books, watch videos and related activities. This is the root cause of the heavy schoolwork, and these things are all based on self-consciousness. No one is watching you, and you can't see it in a short time if you are a little lazy, because in class, there are always people who rush to answer the professor's questions. In this case, even if you have received the same education and training, when you really face patients, the gap between good doctors and lazy doctors will suddenly appear. Western modern medicine is all standardized. The more you remember, the more confident you are. When you encounter a problem, you can quickly recall the relevant knowledge in your mind. If your psychological quality is better, you can easily look like a regular doctor. However, the salted fish doctor has little knowledge reserve. Once an accident occurs, his mind goes blank and he is completely confused. This is still the internship stage. There are senior residents to guide you, and the attending doctors to support you. It doesn't matter if you are confused. At most, you will be left out and lose many opportunities. But once the internship period is over, you start to really manage patients. A slight mistake or misjudgment may mean the difference between life and death for the patient. Code 007 is the greatest humiliation for doctors, because you are not exercising the doctor's duty to cure diseases and save lives, but doing the opposite, even if you are unintentional, just because you don't have enough ability. But between life and death, there should be enough ability, but because of salted fish, this is a sin. Of course, if everything is done according to standard procedures, no one will say anything. But as long as you are not an antisocial person, the shock and self-blame in your heart will devour you. Adam's goal is to become a top surgeon. He is as diligent as a bee, so he has nothing to do with being a salted fish. But he will not be arrogant or complacent, because these accumulations will involve life in the future, the lives of patients, and Adam's own life. Does anyone know this question? As soon as the professor finished speaking, everyone raised their arms. But Adam's speed is the fastest. The average person's speed is 100, and he is at least 180, so how can he not be fast? Student Duncan. Sure enough, the professor called Adam's name. Competition in the medical field is an eternal topic. Without enough competitive spirit and self-confidence, you can't become the best doctor. Therefore, the medical field encourages competition, even if the professor might want to call Stephen Murphy's name. When Adam raised his hand first and his speed was obviously much faster than others, the professor could only call Adam. But Adam did not feel complacent. This situation is temporary and relative. If the professor really wants to favor others, Adam will poke his hand in front of him, and he can ignore it calmly. The reason is also very simple: to give other students a chance. Because the medical community emphasizes unity and cooperation in addition to competition, the right and wrong are determined by the heart, and this is absolute power. This is also the reason why Adam strives to maintain his relationship with Rachel's father Leonard. He doesn't want to be a victim of this power. Adam answered the question perfectly. The professor expressed his affirmation. In the following time, whenever the professor asked a question, Adam was always the first to raise his hand, and he could answer accurately every time. But the professor did not call Adam's name. He began to call Stephen, Iliad, Alice, William's name one after another, and once called the name of the girl whose last name Adam was familiar with, Samson. Every time Adam put his hand down, he complained in his heart, "It's really an idle drama." Even the roll call only calls the pretty ones. But it's normal to think about it. Pretty people are naturally more eye-catching and easier to be noticed by the professor. But this is a bit unfriendly to other students. Obviously, Adam is not the only one who complains like this. So after a few days of classes, the nickname F5 Tantuan spread among the freshmen, which was full of mockery. Adam Duncan, Stephen Murphy, Alice Kidman, William Harvard, Iliad Reed, Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing when Iliad told him about this nickname. It's okay for the four of us, but how come Steven is included in it? The F and F5 is the abbreviation of flower, which means pretty boys and beautiful girls. It is a mockery of Adam and his friends because they have most opportunities because of their good looks. You know, if you don't often show your face in front of the professor, when you graduate and are assigned an internship hospital, you may be sent to an inconspicuous small hospital. And when the hospital is small, the equipment, patients and other resources are poor, you will not be able to get in touch with many strange and eye-opening special cases that are good for your resume, and you will be far behind others at the beginning. Not to mention that after the internship, those who go to big hospitals may stay in big hospitals, while those who go to small hospitals will find it extremely difficult to work in big hospitals. Adam and his friends almost cover the professor's vision, and others are disgusted with them. It is normal to mock them. Steven and I are all thanks to you, Iliad said embarrassedly. To be honest, only F3, you, William and Alice together, can be considered a real group. This silly girl really takes this nickname as a compliment. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.